Now, I've seen a lot of people say that I look and sound like a Redditor, which is one of the most insulting things you can ever say about another human being. But what if I force-fed you a hard truth? What if I told you I don't really use Reddit? My narwhal doesn't bacon at midnight. I'll occasionally go on there just to see if there's any breaking news that I might be unaware of, but it's very infrequent. And I never, go into the swamp of a comment section on the platform. Until today. I don't know what possessed me to do this. It must have been some kind of divine moment that just grabbed me by the shoulders and possessed me, told me that I needed to read some comments today, and I am so thankful I did. I stumbled upon true beauty with an argument that could only ever happen on Reddit, that perfectly encapsulates the quintessential Reddit user. In this moment, I am euphoric, thanks to finding this fucking angry Redditor and everyone who engaged with him on this day. It started in the most unsuspecting location, but then again, that's where all good fairy tales begin, in the place you least expect them. So, it was a clip posted from this podcast. Now, the clip doesn't matter. I'm not going to play the clip. I'm sure you probably already recognize the person here. Her name is Bobby. She runs a podcast where she interviews famous celebrities, and her whole shtick is she makes things awkward, which is a very hit or miss format, so it's led to a lot of debate on why is she so popular. Also, is she an industry plant because she seemingly blew up overnight? She landed an interview with Drake while she was still relatively new and not massive, so it just started raising a lot of red flags, and a lot of people started saying it must be an industry plant, and then she started getting even more superstar celebrities. Like, this clip is from an interview she did with Lil Yachty, and it's just been a lot of hoopla around her and her content. The only reason I'm even giving you this lore dump is because it is necessary to put into context what started this argument. And it's the entire reason I went into the comment section, really, of this video. You see, Bobby's content is very polarizing. On TikTok, people love Bobby. They're cheering her on, pumping their fist. Go Bobby! Let's get it! Fuck yeah! And then on Twitter, it's boo! Oh brother, she stinks! Get out of town, scram, this is garbage. So two very different responses to her content on two different platforms, but I've never really seen Reddit's opinion on it. I've never seen them weigh in, and curiosity got the best of me. I marched into Mordor, went to the comments in order to get an answer to the question, and most of the comments were pretty negative towards the interview. But there was one comment that spawned a whole series of dominoes to fall. So let's begin our journey. I'm going to blank out their name here. I don't want anyone to go harass anyone involved in this situation. So this individual comes forth and says, "What grown man sits down and watches this bullshit, then have the nerves to repost this garbage to Reddit?" Now this comment received a lot of love, over 400 upvotes, which is nothing to scoff at. That's a lot of high quality karma. Unfortunately, no Reddit Gold, Reddit Platinum, or Reddit Silver was gifted to it, so we weren't blessed with the edit "thanks for the gold, stranger," or anything like that. But still, the community responded very positively to this comment, and most of the comment section here echoed the same sentiment, that they didn't really understand the appeal of the clip. Now, all of this doesn't matter. You can wipe your ass with all of this now, because going forward, this comment spiraled into something that had nothing to do with the original post anymore. And it went fucking insano style. Now we're introduced to our primary antagonist of Season 1. So, from out of nowhere, our main character gets challenged. Someone steps in and says, "Lol, you're on the Hot Wheels sub, dude. Weird to take shots at what grown men should be into when your interests include Hot Wheels. Different people like different things. Leave it be." So he goes into the post history of this individual and notices that they are a frequent poster on the Hot Wheels subreddit. And he's using it to take some shots at him to try and showcase, like, hey man, you say grown men shouldn't be into that, but I could also say grown men shouldn't be into Hot Wheels. You see how that works? And he's not wrong. He's coming for the throat here. You could absolutely say the same thing. What grown men would be so into Hot Wheels that they'd go on to Reddit and talk about it all the time? I personally have no problem with that at all, and I don't think this poster does either. He's just using it to make a point. I think whatever hobby you're into, whatever you collect, I think it's great. I think that shit slaps. Having something that you're passionate about that you would collect it, I think is a cool thing. I mean, I have fucking cards framed on my wall from Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, right? Like, I get it. But this really struck a nerve with this guy. He responded by saying, "Grown man liking cars? Who would have thought? I see you ignored all the other subs. Maybe I should waste my time on rap and movie subs like all the other low IQ Redditors across the pond." And if you're an astute observer, you'll notice that he's no longer enjoying the luxury of some updoots. The subreddit has turned against him, thrown him to the wolves. He is now being flooded with downvotes. And a downvote is a fate worse than death to a Redditor. It's kryptonite to Superman. The downvotes start hitting him, over 100 downvotes. And I can see why. This feels very insecure to come at him like this. His point was pretty clear, but then he, tries to, explain away why it's, really in line with being a grown-ass man because he likes cars. He's like, oh, well, yeah, grown men like cars, Hot Wheels are cars, duh. I mean, maybe I should just go to rap and movie subreddits like you low IQ plebeians. It's really, really cringy Reddit behavior now. The bad boy comes back with a tough-to-swallow pill. Hot Wheels aren't cars, mate. They're toys. Talk about low IQ, haha. You're not better than anybody else, sorry to tell you. To which he responds, the fact you had to come back and edit that pathetic response, LMAO. And then he just says, go play with your vroom vrooms. His collection of downvotes is starting to eclipse his collection of Hot Wheels cars at this point. They just keep pouring in. As you can see, most people are rallying behind the other guy who's just saying, brother, they're toys, not real cars. And he's right. He is fluent in facts. He is spittin'. They are not real cars. They are toys. There's nothing wrong with collecting them or liking them, but I don't understand why this goofball is talking about it as if they are real vehicles. He's like, got this bravado going on, like this machismo, like, oh yeah, grown men liking cars, who would have thought? It's Hot Wheels, man. They're still collectible toys that you can play with, and they are made for kids, but there's nothing wrong with liking them or collecting them as an adult. Fucking Pokemon cards are made for kids too. I collect them. There's no shame in it, but you're acting so insecure about it and pretending that it's something that it's not. And he does the classic Reddit 101 when it comes to argument, where he doesn't actually address what was said. He just says, LMAO, edited your pathetic response, big L, basically. His response wasn't pathetic, it was totally fine. You didn't counter it or anything at all. He just made you look foolish, and you continue to make yourself look like even more of a clown here. In response to the vroom vroom comment, he says, I'm changing spark plugs on my 700 horsepower F-150 right now. I will when I get done, though. And now, here enters the sidekick to our main supervillain here, who chimes in and says, you're trying too hard. To which this guy responds, actually, I'm low on boost. If I was trying too hard, I'd be at 950 horsepower range. It doesn't get more Redditor than that. Oh my fucking god, I could feel the fedora tip through the computer screen here. Milady, my horsepower is quite low, actually. It's just, shit, it hurts to read, it really does. The guy's absolutely right. He is trying so hard. I half expected him to go into the Navy SEALs copy pasta. What'd you say to me, you little bitch? I've got 500 confirmed Hot Wheels with 6,000 horsepower and 400 RPM turbo booster NOS accelerators. Brother, it's Reddit. You're not Dominic Toretto. You're talking about Hot Wheels. It's not that deep. Even if he was being honest and was changing the spark plugs in his F-150, why would you say that? It just makes you look like such a fucking loser to say that during your heated little scuffle online. It's so cringy. If that's what you were actually doing, keep it to yourself. You don't need to try and prove that you're a man to a stranger on Reddit. All hell breaks loose right now, and the cringe is rated E for everyone, because he starts just lashing out at anybody in the thread. So someone else made a comment, and he went through his post history, I believe, and found that he was on, the WWE subreddit. So he calls him out saying, WWE isn't real, bro, sorry to tell you. Maybe you should pick up a real hobby like learning about cars. To which they respond, toys. A slam dunk, he's right. It's all fucking about Hot Wheels so far. So then he comes back and says, yes, I'm not delusional like you, Mr. SmackDown vs. Raw. That's not even an insult. The WWE is extraordinarily popular. Hot Wheels Henry is just really scrapping for any morsel, any crumb of an insult that he can, slap together, and it's not working. It's not. He's fighting like 16 different battles from all fronts here on this comment thread, and he's losing every single one of them. Our boy then goes full armchair psychologist. You actually are ashamed deep down. That's the whole reason you chimed in on my comment. You felt attacked when I said, "What grown man watches this?" It brought back traumatic memories of you being bullied for liking WWE in this day and age. He's like, no, I commented just because of the toxicity. To which he says, I'd rather have a Hot Wheels collection in my garage next to my turbo truck than have Rey Mysterio and Triple H posters all over my wall. I don't know who's getting bullied for liking the WWE in this day and age. It's extraordinarily popular. Maybe like 10 years ago, but today, no shot. I think he's fighting ghosts with that one. You're much more likely to get bullied for collecting Hot Wheels cars as a grown-ass man. Case in point. Though, he's not actually getting bullied for that because no one really has a problem with what you collect as a hobby. The reason people are making fun of him here in the subreddit is because of his attitude, where he views his hobby as just superior to whatever else everyone's interested in. Oh, you see, no, I actually collect Hot Wheels cars, like a real grown, grizzled, strong, big-muscled man, not this lame garbage. Like, it just sounds like pinky up, high off your own fumes, sniffing your own farts kind of garbage where you view yourself as superior than others just because you think your interests are better. So you're just shitting on everyone else who called it out. Like, no one cares if you collect Hot Wheels cars in your garage and it's right next to your fucking Optimus Prime truck. Yeehaw, that's great. You're just being an asshole about it, which is why people are just making fun of you in the subreddit. His rampage continues, and this time he's pissing on sacred, hallowed ground. He insults RuneScape. He says, you drive a stock car and play RuneScape, I know you're drowning in pussy. He's saying it sarcastically. So he checked the comment history of this guy, saw that he played RuneScape, and he's using it to attack him. Which is a wild one. Like, yeah, RuneScape's got some, less than stellar things about it, but there's nothing wrong with RuneScape at all. It's still an extremely popular MMO that is well loved to this day. And the guy's like, I don't understand how a dude who plays with toy cars thinks he's above people on movie and rap subreddits and people who play RuneScape. We're all on the same site getting in our respective nerdy communities. What makes toy cars better than talking about media or playing a game? Which is fair. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And then he just goes, you don't understand because you can't even turn a wrench on your own car. Of course, a mechanic is going to be into Hot Wheels considering he works around cars all day. Do you need me to further break it down for you to understand? Oh, just that aura of insecure loser is very potent. It's like in Bleach when they first meet Kenpachi and his spiritual pressure is so strong that it just glues people to the ground, they can't even stand up. That's what his loser aura is doing to me right now. It's rough. Why do you feel the need to defend your hobby when no one's actually attacking that? They're attacking your behavior, where you think what you do is better than everyone else and can't understand that different people are going to like different things and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the only thing people are picking apart. That's what started this whole thing. You were saying, who watches this garbage? What grown man would do this? And one other guy was like, hey, you're a grown man who plays with Hot Wheels. You understand? Like, different people like different things. It could have been so easy to just meet in the middle, shake hands, and be like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah, this wasn't for me. Just like Hot Wheels collecting, maybe not for you. But he just refuses to accept that reality. Instead, he's just going, no, you don't understand because you can't turn a wrench in your own car. He just keeps diving in on things other people like. Do you just really call RuneScape a fun multiplayer game? Responding to someone saying that it was a fun game, there's nothing wrong with it. You're not playing COD, dude. You're playing a game that's synonymous with virgin weirdos like yourself. Deaf embarrassing. He's just trying way too hard. I can feel the tears in his eyes as he types these comebacks. Now, up until this point, I had a big smile on my face reading these for the first time, but when I read his next response here, I let out an audible gasp. So the guy, once again, is still going in about RuneScape, like, it's just an MMO, whatever, you're being a judgmental prick, and can't handle it when people roast you back. So you start combing through comment histories, massive Redditor mindset. And his response is, I can definitely handle it, LMAO. I just shit on 10 different no-lifes, including you, that wanted to be relevant. There's multiple comments saying who watches this, but of course you want to reply to mine for the free clout and upvotes from the Fem girls. I don't even know what fantasy land this guy's in. He just went into Narnia, and he's not coming back, I guess. We've lost him for good in delusion. Farming the free clout from a Reddit comment section? What clout? And where did the Fim girls come from? And I don't understand. There's so many layers to this onion, I don't even know where to begin with picking it apart. So, first of all, he can't handle anyone roasting him back. He has showcased that very beautifully. He's had a full-blown conniption over this. He did not shit on 10 different people. He just made a fool of himself in response to 10 different people. And he says that they just wanted to be relevant. So I'm guessing this guy has a huge ego, and he thinks that he's some kind of Reddit power user, perhaps? Like, his karma speaks for itself, right? Like, this is a big guy. And you guys are only responding to him because they're trying to suckle some clout from his teats. His big, ample bosom of relevancy. It's wild. It's so wild to me. So I went to his account because I did a double take. Is this like a big Reddit user? No, he's not. Like, I don't know what like the highest upper echelon of Reddit karma farming is, like the biggest karma accounts, but his is not very high. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. But even if it was, if he's the #1 Reddit poster, there is no such thing as Reddit clout for commenters. That doesn't exist. Like, Reddit is the only social media platform where if you're extremely active, the #1 account on Reddit, it doesn't do dick for you. It does less than nothing for you. If you get Twitter famous, you can at least turn that into some kind of like sponsorship revenue or lead people to other platforms to maybe follow you. Now you can even make direct ad revenue from engagement, I guess. TikTok, obviously, you can make a whole career out of. Even Facebook, obviously, YouTube, Twitch, every other social media platform, if you are a power user of it and get like a big audience on there, you can make a whole career out of it. Reddit, if you dedicate your life to being a Reddit power user, all you do is get laughed at. That's your big reward. You get insulted for wasting your time. It is the only social media platform where you cannot make a career out of being a power user of it. So even if he was the #1 user on here, it wouldn't matter. And there's no clout that anyone would be able to get from this exchange. This was just one of the most bafflingly out of touch comments I think I've ever read on that platform. Now, another Redditor came in and said, "No way you just said free clout when referring to Reddit comments." Also stunned by the statement. And he double responds here saying, "Your plan worked, dude. You got all the femboys wanting to suck you off. And since we're on Reddit, I'll just go ahead and do it. You used the wrong form of your, actually." And then his next response is, "Y'all should become friends and play together. Y'all would fit in perfectly with the rest of the RuneScape community." I'm at a loss for words. This is kind of where the whole thing ends. And man, what a banger of an exchange it was. It's just such an adventure. All starting from someone mentioning his Hot Wheels hobby. And look at where we ended up, huh? Look at us now. Who would have thought? This is a wacky, wacky argument. Probably my favorite Reddit argument that I've got to actually find for myself. I got to come into this in the wild. I didn't get linked to this. No one told me about this. I just happened to be perusing the comment section and then saw this argument unfold. And I got to go on an unexpected journey with it. And I really just had to share it. I had to. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Hey there, you having a good day? Well, fuck you, because everyone on this subreddit isn't. And you know why they're not having a good day? Because they read or saw something that had a dog in it. Today I'd like to cosplay as those hands that drag you down to hell, but I'd like to drag you to a place that's even more joyless than hell. It's a subreddit dedicated to this crazy hate of dogs. Just the fact that dogs exist bother these people to their very core and ruin their day. God forbid if they see like a Facebook post with a dog in it, or if they hear a dog bark, they go like a fucking full Winter Soldier episode and leave like a 9-paragraph post on this subreddit complaining about it and how dogs should be euthanized out of the world or some shit. It's crazy. I'm not going to say the subreddit's name because I don't want them harassed or anything. Plus, I'd like to preserve it as this nice little specimen for the lunacy to check in on. So I don't want it contaminated and polluted. So please, if anyone finds it, don't go out of your way to ruin it. But there's this whole subreddit dedicated for people to go in there and just vent about how much they hate the fact that dogs exist and tell their stories of when they encountered dogs and how they wanted to kill them or stuff like that, or why dogs shouldn't exist, etc. It is so sad So unbelievably sad. Now, this also exists for cats, but today I want to focus on the dog one because they're a lot more hateful for some reason. Now, just in case one of these people from the subreddit is watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and call in one of my dogs. That just the sight of a dog makes these people just fucking melt. It's like taking sunlight to a vampire, like rubbing garlic in their face. Kata, come here. Kata. Good girl. What a good girl. Yes. All right. Now, please, come on, hop up. Join me as we take a look at the most unhappy subreddit on all of Reddit. Good girl. I'd like to start with the most reasonable of everything on the subreddit. So this is, I downvote anything with a dog in it. They go on to explain they're tired of seeing dog content. You know, there's nothing wrong with not liking dogs. You don't have to fucking love dogs or animals in general for that matter. But to go out of your way to make a whole subreddit and multiple posts talking about how much you actively hate dogs and the fact that dogs exist, that's pretty insane. Like, that's pretty wild shit. To just be so bothered by the fact that dogs exist in the world is such a weird thing to harp on. Like, what's next? Are you gonna be outraged at the fact that you can't see air with your own two eyes? Just fucking weird. But anyway, like with everything on the internet, the comments is where shit really pops off, so I'll read a couple. Same. I downvote anything with a dog in it, including memes. I'm on several food Reddits, and at least 3 to 5 times a day I see a picture of someone's food and a dog in the picture, and they mention the doggo. The dogs are usually looking ultra pathetic in the pictures and begging for the food in said picture. It's also pandering for upvotes / awards to have the dog in the picture because doggos are so trendy right now. I mean, I don't care. If there's even remotely a dog in it, I downvote it, and I'm not sorry about it. Yeah, this comment really reads like someone who doesn't care. Sorry, not sorry, just hate dogs. It calls them ultra pathetic. Like, what a weird thing to attribute to an animal. Oh yeah, I was driving around and I saw this fucking pathetic looking dog. Can't even do a bicep curl. Probably has a negative KD in Fortnite. It was so sad, so I just fucking spit at it. Like, it's not nearly as good as a human. Dogs can't do what humans do. How fucking sad and pathetic are dogs, am I right, humans? This person's whole identity revolves around their unique trait of hating dogs to an absurd degree. The fact they can't see a dog in a picture with food without getting irrationally angry about it. Like the other commenter said, what if it's just a dog's ear accidentally? And then someone replies, well, if it's a food subreddit, then they shouldn't have a dog so close to their food. Ew. Oh, ew, how yucky, there's a dog in the kitchen. Meanwhile, this guy probably doesn't even wash his hands after taking a shit. Probably doesn't even wipe his own ass either. Like, these are probably the filthiest people on this subreddit, and yet they put all of that on dogs. It's like they're projecting all of their insecurities on dogs. So fucking goofy. Sometime I sort by new, just so I can downvote any dog posts. I hope to catch them before they start trending. That's a great idea. Also, by the way, that is the same person who said dogs shouldn't be anywhere around food, like in the same fucking city as food. Now that's just asshole behavior, like, Jesus, let people have their fun. Someone says, you know what, that's a little too far. But luckily they have a reasonable response, very level-headed. You want to know what is asshole behavior? Having a big dog in an apartment, letting a dog bark all day while you are at work, thinking a dog's life is more valuable than a human's. Okay, calm down here, big shot. Where did you get any of that from the post, which just says I downvote dog posts? Where did all that come from? This is like an onion. We have to peel apart the layers to really figure this shit out. It's so unrelated, you know? It's like getting in an argument with me, or like, Charlie, you're really bad at basketball, and then I turn around and be like, you know what's really bad? The fact that my dad doesn't think I'm successful and laughs at me because I'm short. Like, you know, where's that coming from, Charlie? That's not what we were talking about. In this post, this person was just saying this is kind of asshole behavior to be doing what you're doing, downvoting new posts just because you don't like dogs. And then they turn around and go off on a completely unrelated tangent about valuing dogs' lives more than humans. I do too, referring to downvoting dog posts. Lately there have been a Louis Vuitton ad with an ugly-ass dog in a handbag. I couldn't be more disgusted. Why are luxury brands associating themselves with one of the filthiest animals in the world? That's a pretty big leap, calling dogs the filthiest animals in the world. There's animals that literally live in shit. And you know, humans aren't that clean either. In fact, I would argue humans are dirtier than most animals. Like, you can catch all kinds of diseases from other humans that you can't from animals. I mean, like, you could definitely make the argument humans are actually far grosser. The guy who commented this is probably 15 days without a shower by now. You know, there's plenty of arguments that you can make that make dogs not the filthiest animal in the world. In fact, I don't think at any point you could even make the argument they are. Like, this is just a really delusional post. Making my boyfriend and his dog move out. So this is a lot to digest here. Chapter 1 is spent introducing the characters and setting the scene. This lady has just closed on her dream home and her boyfriend is moving in and he has a dog. Chapter 2, we're introduced to the main villain of this anime arc, who also happens to be the protagonist. So this is her talking about the dog. But I hate him, he smells, he's neurotic, he's super weird about nail trim, so I'm constantly hearing the tap 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 of dog claws on my floor. I just hate it. Because of his claws, the Trex deck I have currently is totally scratched to all hell. Thankfully the buyer has a dog, so she didn't mind, and it didn't cost me anything. He's made pee rings all over the lawn, and I don't feel like I can walk barefoot out there anymore. My house smells like dog despite weekly baths, and he's of course scared of water, so bath time is mostly a war we must wage. I finally told my boyfriend today I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can live with a dog, especially in my new house. This lady is about to throw away a relationship because she just doesn't like dogs. I knew I didn't want to, but it felt very good to say it. It sucks because my boyfriend said he won't let the dog go. That's fine. I'll live in a $500,000 home by myself, and he can rent an effing apartment. That means fucking apartment. She's venting. She's getting very angry, you know. She's making a stand. You know, fuck dogs, and he can live on the goddamn street and get pissed on by homeless people with his dog. I don't care. I'm better alone. I don't know about the status of our relationship. I'm going to tell you it's probably over. He probably saw this psycho side of you. It's honestly been rocky for a bit, but I think it's mostly due to his dog being a constant source of friction. I'm not scared of being single though, so if that ends up being the best for me, I'll do it. I'm just glad I found this sub because sometimes it feels so isolating not liking dogs. Thanks for reading, felt good to write it out. Well, this basket of sunshine here seems pretty rational. There's not liking dogs, and then there's this, throwing away your entire relationship and future plans because of not liking a dog. That's very different. You see, in a relationship, I don't know how many you've been in or if you even know how they work, but not both people are the same person, so they're going to have different likes and dislikes. That's totally normal and natural. There's compromises that you two make together with communication instead of some kind of crazy ultimatum outrage where it was either me or the dog. Get the fuck out of here because I hate dogs. That dog's claws tap on the floor and it makes me fucking mad. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that's a different level. That's not disliking dogs, that's you being crazy. That's you having an irrational hatred of an animal. I can finally shout it from the rooftops. I am finally dog free! After 4 years of piss, shit, dirt, filth, grime, dog hair, foul odor, fights with my spouse. Probably not the dog's fault, you're probably just a really shitty significant other if I had to guess, especially with this kind of weird post. Annoyance, rage, resentment, hate, disgust. And holding my tongue more than I ever thought humanly possible, I can finally announce my family and I are dog free! Fuck that piece of shit. I am so done with her. She's gone and she's never coming back. I've been singing and dancing all day. I've already started cleaning and scrubbing her from my life. It's a long process to clean every last piece of shit that has her filth on it, but I started already, and it's so therapeutic. Tomorrow, I'm going to bleach the whole balcony. I'm so excited. I'm going to vacuum the house about 10 times and then steam clean it another 2 to 3 times. I'm running the pet dishes through the dishwasher 2 to 3 times. We still have a cat that uses the pet dishes. I've already thrown her kennel out to the dumpster. I just want to scrub every last memory of this shit beast out of my life, and it feels so good to do it. She has caused me nothing but grief every day for the last 4 years. I hate her. I hate her so much. I'm so fucking done with her. She's gone. She's gone. She's gone. I guarantee this person's significant other also made a Reddit post this day saying, I can finally shout it from the rooftops. I am finally free from my crazy fucking significant other, this wacko, this maniac. What a post. And I like that they also admit they still have a cat. Cats literally have a litter box inside of your house full of shit and piss and filth. That is an actual cauldron of filth in your house. At least if you train a dog properly, they will go to the bathroom outside, which is out of your house, which means out of your immediate vicinity. You have all kinds of, like, fucking cat shit particles floating around. I like cats not as much as dogs, but cats have a fucking litter box in your house, so if you're going by just, like, pure, poop and shit in the house, cats literally do it inside. Dogs do it outside when they're trained. This is probably just the worst dog owner of all time. Judging by this post, I think that can be said with a high level of certainty, just not very competent when it comes to animals. Or relationships, for that matter, since apparently this dog drove a wedge in their actual fucking relationship somehow. I hate seeing dogs on cat-dominated subs. Your shit breed isn't cute. It's always titled, Are Dogs Welcome? And the images of an ugly ass sniffer barely doing whatever the sub is for. The comments are idiots simping like, oh yes, haha, love your pupper, I would let it shit on my front yard. Ahaha. I wish these subs would ban dog photos. I'm there to see cute cats, not dogs. If I wanted to see a fucking dog, I would go to drooling wastes of oxygen or some shit. Fuck your stupid dogs, Kimberly. I want to see legitimately cute things on my screen. Yeah, I'd let a cat shit in my house, haha. Like, this is such a dumb argument. Dogs shit outside, cats shit inside. Like, you like cats, but you point out that dogs shit in the front yard. Your cat is literally shitting where you sleep. You know, like, again, I like cats, but these arguments are absolutely ridiculous. You're a fucking idiot. Not liking dogs is one thing. Not liking dogs on a cat sub, totally reasonable. But to take it to an extreme, it makes no sense. There's so much on this subreddit. I only shared with you the top posts of the last year because I don't want to get too deep into it. So I just wanted to share the top post recently for the year. It's crazy. All of them also play this victim card where it's like, we're crucified for not liking dogs. People just can't accept that some people just don't like dogs. No, you fucking lunatic. No one is mad at you for not liking dogs. It's taking it to this crazy extreme where you make it your whole personality trait or the deciding factor in a relationship. You know, like that's to an absurd level. It's just so extreme and ridiculous. There was a post on there about this lady who in her Tinder bio changed it to I fucking hate dogs and went into detail about not liking dogs, and she was saying how she doesn't get matches anymore or something like that. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's dogs. It's the fact that you have this crazy hatred for something that you're just so willing to just wear on your sleeve. Like, change that whole thing. Instead of it being like, I fucking hate dogs, change it to something, you know, I fucking hate Pepsi. If you wrote a paragraph about how much you fucking hate Pepsi, people would still look at you the same way and think you're weird. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's dogs. It's the fact with how hard you go in this hatred for it. Like, it's so weird. That's why people often look at you as like a circus act or like something goofy to read and be surprised about. To hate an animal to this level. There's plenty of things to not like about dogs. Sure, you know, some dogs are aggressive. Maybe you had a bad experience with a dog. People have died from dog maulings. Yeah, that's absolutely happened. It's happened with cats as well, which they all, well, not all, but a lot of them on this subreddit seem to like cats, but it's also happened with cats too. Like, it happens. So there is things to not like about it. So no one really blames you if you're not a huge fan after having an experience or reading something that scared you. But to have this level of fixation on your hatred for an animal is crazy. There's a lot of posts in here where they celebrate when they get dogs taken away from their owners or get their neighbors kicked out for having dogs in a neighborhood. There's a lot of posts about that. Now, some of them actually were pretty decent. Like, there were owners of a dog that weren't treating the dog well, and they got the dog separated from the owner, so maybe the dog can find a better home. Those are fine. But then there's other posts cheering them on, like, my neighbor's dog barks a lot, so I called the police on him, hoping that the dog would get shot by the police. Like, that's the craziness that people look at you and raise an eyebrow at. It's not the fact that you're not a huge fan of dogs. It's to have everything about you be hating dogs is weird. And that's why people find you to be this interesting specimen to read about on Reddit. So yeah, anyway, that's about it. See ya. Dine and dash is the act of eating a meal at a restaurant and leaving without paying. When I hear dine and dash being mentioned, I immediately go to the great Charles Doza, where he was arrested and then gave us one of the finest monologues ever recorded. This is Democracy Manifest. What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Get your hands off my penis! When that video went viral so many years ago, there was a ton of different rumors and stories surrounding it. It had this air of mysticism almost. It ranged from hyping him up as some kind of Gotham supervillain to him being an infamous dine and dashing culprit that they were finally apprehending. And for some reason, that always stuck with me. So when I think of dine and dash, he is who I picture in my head now. Even though that wasn't the truth of that situation there, it's still, for some reason, what has been locked in my noodle. So today when I saw a body cam video of a douchebag being arrested for dine and dashing, I couldn't help but just think about Charles Doza and how much cooler he was than this loser we're about to watch.
On August 16, 2022, officers responded to a report of a man leaving a restaurant without paying his bill.
Why are you asking for my ID?
Because you're being accused of a crime. I'm not saying that you're guilty, but I gotta get you identified.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
All right? Relax. Come over here.
So that's the gist of it. He's being accused of not paying his bill at a restaurant, so now he's got 1 star and the cops are just casually coming up to him asking for his ID. This video is blown up over the last 12 hours, and every post about it says that this is a Wall Street Bets mod. I'm sure all of you have heard of that subreddit, Wall Street Bets. It's a very popular one, and I don't know if that's a true statement or not, but if this really is a mod on Wall Street Bets, That makes this situation even goofier because this goober is the quintessential Reddit mod in real life caricature, and good heavens, it couldn't be more fitting. It's exactly what you envision when you picture a mod interacting with other human beings in the real world.
I went over there to have happy hour. I had some food, and I day trade. I do option trading. I got a business major and I got an accounting, so I do day trading.
He randomly decides to mention that he's a day trader, does options like yeehaw, woo, that's fucking awesome, this guy's amazing. It has nothing to do with anything. That is totally irrelevant to everything. It wouldn't matter if you're Michael Jordan. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't matter. You didn't pay your bill. You can't do that.
Were you by yourself?
Yes, by myself.
All right. How much did you eat? What did you buy?
No, it was only $70, bro.
$70 worth?
Yeah.
All right.
So,
God, his attitude is so insufferable. So he's laughing at, it was only $70, bro. I make that in a millisecond with my day trading and options because I am a Hustlers University graduate and I learned all about this kind of stuff, brother. Like, I was on Reddit the other day getting my financial advice as I usually do, and I'm making a killing right now. $70, that's nothing. This is a non-issue. He just doesn't understand, like, liquidity versus supply and demand. He doesn't understand the bell curve, the angle of azimuth.
I tried to pay with Apple Pay.
Okay.
And he said, like, I'm sorry, sir, we don't take Apple Pay. I was like, cool, I gave him my credit card.
Okay.
My credit card didn't go through.
Decline.
His face was really upset already. And I'm like, I tried to educate him. I'm like, listen, I don't have any liquidity with me because most of my capital is my investments. And banks, I don't have banks neither.
He sounds like me when I was back in high school thinking of excuses for why I didn't finish an assignment. Like just a bunch of nonsense mumbo jumbo. He goes through this long speech about why he can't pay for it because he doesn't believe in liquidity. You know, liquidity is a belief held by simpletons and he doesn't have anything in the bank. He'd be a damn fool to have anything in the bank, obviously. So he just can't pay for the food at all. He talks about how all of his money's in investments, which is turbo dope. I have no doubt in my mind this guy is investing epic swag style into the coolest Web3 projects. He's got tons of awesome coins. Like, I know he's crushing it. Big thanks to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. I've been working with the World of Warships team for quite some time to design some custom in-game content, so I'm a commander in the game now. I go by Chuck Blast on the seas out there, and I'm an absolute menace. The name of our ship is the Blastmaster. We sail under Chuck's flag, so I help design the assets, the camo, just kind of top to bottom. It looks like me, it sounds like me, because I do the voice acting for it. Dead on target. I'm, for all intents and purposes, engaged in war out there, and it's extremely fun. World of Warships is an amazing game that my father and I played together. He's been hard addicted for years, so it's really fun to watch him play as Chuck Blast. So there's new content released every month. There's so many ships to choose from: destroyers, battleships, aircraft carriers, cruisers, and you can play alone or in a division with friends. So you can use code Penguinz0 to get the mission to unlock me as your commander, Chuck Blast. You also get 7 days premium account time, 1.5 million credits, 500 doubloons, and the battleship Bayern. It's available for PC and consoles, and the code is for newly registered players, but existing players can acquire these items by purchasing my bundle or through the new internet's containers. So you can click the link in the description to get started. Thanks again, World of Warships.
All right. Okay. Do you have any means to pay that $70?
No. I want to sue them. I'm sorry.
But do you,
No. I'm sorry. You're asking the wrong question, sir. I'm so sorry.
you consume food, right?
Huh?
You consume food?
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's just something was off with this guy. He pitched this crazy fit, went nuts in here, threatening people. I'm talking about, like, went nuts at the bar.
I love that he's playing the victim here like this. Oh, actually, I want to sue them for thinking I couldn't pay $70 measly dollars. 70 clams? Oh, that's nothing. Of course I can pay that. I have no ways of paying that because all of my money's in these investments, but I obviously have $70, and, you know, I want to sue them now. Like, the delusion on this guy is incredible. I have no doubt that he was probably trying to barter with them at some point too, like, oh, actually, do you accept the bonds here? I'd like to pay in some of these bonds. As you see, I'm an investor, so I don't really believe in liquidity. Okay, maybe not bonds. Do you accept Safe Moon here? No Safe Moon? Oh my god, you guys are so behind on the times. This is archaic. No Web3 capabilities here? Okay, how about, can I pay you in Cum Rocket coin? Okay, I'm out of here. You won't accept Cum Rocket Coin? I was even going to leave a 200% tip. That's your fault now. $70 is nothing. That's literally no money at all. I fart and $70 comes out of my ass. It's not that I can't pay, it's that I'm not going to pay because you're not accepting real currency like my shit coins here. And apparently he was throwing a tantrum too, threatening people. What an unhinged lunatic.
Do you have a way to pay that bill now?
Correct. No, I don't have it now.
You can? All right.
No,
So,
I can't pay it.
All right,
I want to report the
all right,
business.
but listen.
Because it was a statement. Can I say this?
walking
Yeah.
away from a tab is
No,
a
no,
crime.
he kicked me out.
Yeah, I know, but you, because...
No.
All right.
No.
Hold on, Victor. No, you can't, Victor. You can't, because then you're going to go to jail.
No,
Yeah.
I know. but
Relax.
you
Put
gotta
your hand
leave
over
it.
put your stuff over here.
No, hands. No.
Put your stuff over here.
Don't come with that, sir.
Weirdo NPC here is trying a very interesting technique of being as annoying as possible. I cut out a large chunk of it there because it was just him putting on this, like, drama club thespian troupe performance about being on camera and shit, just to be a nuisance. So I think what he's trying to do here is just be so bothersome to the officer that the officer loses interest. So he, like, de-aggroes the police officer by just being annoying, and the police officer just doesn't want to deal with the headache and leaves. I'm pretty sure that's what his strategy is, but luckily, it doesn't work out.
You know, how late we stay open? It might take him till 10 o'clock before he can pay his tab. He was on his computer. I mean, it was nuts. This guy is out there.
Oíste, si le falté el respeto, excúsame. Because I go through this racist stuff all the time, stereotyping. But today I was like, you know what? I'm tired of it.
I think this guy is just a real con man, and I think he's going to go from place to place.
Call Officer Leo.
Yeah.
He then tries to claim that it was racism here that led to this situation. So he's really going for every possible approach he can to weasel his way out of this. The business owner here is saying how he thinks he's a con man who just goes business to business pulling this stunt. And I think he's probably right. It feels like this isn't his first rodeo with dine and dashing. It feels like this is probably something he does pretty often.
I got the money to pay, and I was trying to pay.
All right, can you pay now?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to pay, so I want to sit down, have a water while I get my payment.
This guy must have the orb of confusion in his pockets right now, because he is spitting some stupid shit. He is on that moron potion right now. It's so confusing listening to him. He's lost in his own sauce. He's like, oh, I just wanted to have a water. I was going to pay. I can pay. I was planning on paying. I wanted to pay. I was going to pay. The officer says, well, can you pay now? And he goes, no. It's like, what the fuck?
Can I do that?
All right, signal 20. I need to know if they want to press charges.
Yeah, because, No, I want to press charges, not them. Me. Officer.
Andrade, can you answer me that question?
Charges, not them. I want to press charges to the restaurant, not to me.
I'm sorry?
We good.
Buddy starts spamming emotes now, and he's like, I actually want to sue them, not the other way around. Trying the Uno reverse card here. And I'd love to know how that lawsuit would go. I'm suing this restaurant because they're mad at me for not paying my bill. I fully planned on paying my bill, I just refused to. I even offered to give him an IOU. He didn't accept it. That's their fault, and they're mad at me? What the fuck? I did nothing wrong.
I'm so sorry. Estoy bien nervioso, man, because
All right, so if you have what do you have there that you can pay with, that you can pay the bill? What do you have here that you can pay the bill?
Right here, sir. My Robinhood account where I do day trading.
No, but you can't pay with that.
Yeah, so that's my only
You
form of
can't.
payment.
Oh, I
That's
got
not my
you.
problem. I'm trying to pay.
All right, hold on.
the thing. Yeah.
71 switching to...
He flashes his Robinhood account, which makes me believe he probably is a Wall Street Bets mod, because that's the starter pack. He's like, no, look, I could absolutely afford to pay. Look at my Robinhood account. And the officer's like, brother, you can't pay with that there. And he's like, I know, but look, it's right here. I can't pay, but look at this money here. This is where it all is. It's not my fault. What am I supposed to do about that?
Too.
I'm sorry, no, déjame callarme porque me siento tan mal because I'm questioning your This is so funny. You can't wait to see what's gonna happen. It's amazing.
His mannerisms, he's like going full Joker mode here. I'm the Joker, baby. This guy's just acting like he's some kind of weird, quirky goofball. He's like, you're not gonna want to miss what happens next. It's gonna be amazing what happens next. Gotham deserves a new class of day trader, and I'm gonna give it to him.
Póneselo en el... Siéntate. Sit!
Dando.
71 taser pointed.
I'm sitting down, guys. Look at this.
All right, put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
Pete, put your hands behind your back.
telling him I'm trying to pay my costs, and now he's arresting me.
Get up.
Things have escalated here, and he continues to try and say that he's attempting to pay his tab. He's also lobbying to the civilians around him like, look at what's happening. I don't understand what's going on. I was just telling the officer I was trying to pay my tab. I even showed him my Robinhood account. I was going to pay my tab with my imaginary money that I don't have. What do you mean? I don't know what's gone wrong. This injustice. I can't believe it.
I'm Republican too, and he's Spanish. It's a system. It sucks, mama. Why are you searching me?
Stop. You're under arrest.
Why? He's telling me I'm under arrest, but he's not telling me why. Office.
You're under arrest for theft.
For theft. Mira, theft. I was stealing.
Thank you for your quickness and your kindness. Can I get you a bottle of water here?
Oh,
Stay hydrated.
thanks so much.
Thank
Appreciate that.
The juxtaposition between these two officers' experiences is comical. One of them's having the worst day of their life, having to interact with this insufferable loser, and then the other one's just hanging out with the restaurant owner who's being extremely sweet and then just gives him water, and he's like, oh, well, thank you so much for this. I appreciate it.
Yes, don't delete the video, please. Thank you, Officer Hernandez. Thank you, man. I appreciate your service. Just don't delete the video.
I cut out a lot there. Things get very messy. It reaches this weird climax where this guy just starts going a little ballistic and wiggling around, which eventually ends with him getting taken to the ground and charged with resisting on top of already this. And now they've got him in the back of the patrol car and he's asking them not to delete the video, which I think he really should have asked them to delete the video. I don't know why he thought he'd come out of this looking like the good guy here. Everything you could do wrong, he did wrong many, many times. I'm honestly convinced that he must have been the diversion to a bigger scheme, like something out of Ocean's 11, where this guy was supposed to just occupy all of the police's time by just being as loud and over the top as possible to direct their attention all on him while his associates do crime elsewhere. So that way it'd keep the heat off of them and focus entirely on him. Because that's what it feels like. Out of nowhere, he just starts like yelling and screaming and trying to like get everyone's attention from the public around him too. And it just makes this huge hoopla, this massive song and dance out of this situation. So it really feels like he was the diversion in a movie for a bigger crime plot. It was weird.
I can pay the tab right now if you want. Like, it's no problem. And I can tip him $100. No? And I know it was a miscommunication, and I know you're gonna have to apologize to me, you know? And the owner is gonna have to apologize to me too.
You can't pay the tab by just flashing your Robinhood account at someone. It doesn't just beam the money quantumly into their cash register. You can't pay it. That's the whole root of the issue here. You were provided a service under the expectation that you would pay for the service you were provided, and you can't. Also, you apparently freaking out and throwing a massive tantrum in the restaurant probably didn't help things at all. I imagine if you were a bit more respectful about it, like, oh man, Apple Pay's not going through, my credit card's not swiping, something must really be wrong. I can afford to pay this, but maybe we'll need to think of another way of doing it, this and that. Like, if you were more respectful about it, I imagine this may have played out a little bit differently. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's about it. See ya. Reddit's darkest corners. Let's ride.
Quick.
Thanks,
The first
Carney
announcement is
in blood.
600,000 subscribers. The last video,
This channel's
I was freaking
popping
out about
off.
500,000. Thank you to all the newcomers that are coming from Critical's channel. First of all, Charlie, thank you so much. I know I told you thank you in DMs, and by the way, guys, the fact that I spoke to
He's
Critical,
such a
like,
sweetheart.
literally a dream come true. I
Unironically,
sound like
he's
a
such a
broken
sweetheart.
record, but I feel like let's just go even deeper than the surface. This video will be a little
You
bit
don't
different,
wanna
but I
go
asked you
deeper
guys
than the
over on my
surface on
community tab
Reddit.
to help me out. r/Jizzy cards.
Jizzy cards.
37 members. Oh boy, we're starting off strong with this one. Okay, r/Jizzy cards. If you had to take a guess of what that even meant, go ahead, take a guess.
Alright, I bet I can nail this. I would imagine it's people doing cum tributes on old video game cartridges. I would say it's people that like, I love Ocarina of Time so much, here's the N64 cartridge. Just fucking blast it. That would be my guess.
certain you wouldn't have guessed men ejaculating onto video game cartridges and
But I did. I fucking did.
discs for fun. Yeah.
Yep,
pretty
but I
much.
did.
There's only
I know these communities so fucking well. I've never heard of Jizzy Carts. I know this shit so well. Because there's other communities like this. Like I mentioned, cum tributes. This is huge for like figurines. It's like U2's. U2's has their own cum tribute community where people will get U2's of their favorite YouTuber or whatever, and they'll literally just cum on it. They'll put it in jars and shit. Yeah, it's huge. It's fucking huge. So I knew right away Jizzy carts had to be video game related. I bet most people go to like shopping carts or something of cum, but I fucking knew exactly where this was gonna go.
The main user posting these images goes
Oh,
by.
I want to read the request. What did he want? If it wasn't Donkey Kong 64, they fucked up. That's a cool cartridge. Oh, better yet, Majora's Mask. That had the holographic. Good to see a rareware game being humiliated like this. I would shoot a load on Conker's Bad Fur Day, but I'm low on money at the moment. It costs nothing to ejaculate. Unless you have to put like a quarter in like a jar at your house like for every time you sin. I don't know what you mean. I guess like he has to buy the game.
User snapped fingers. This story begins with the user claiming that they can see things that aren't actually there, like paranormal things, and that they were told by experts on Discord that they have to make a sacrifice.
Experts
a significant
on
part of
Discord,
themselves,
huh?
in order for the interdimensional beings to leave them alone. Discord experts? Like...
That's
It's
what
already
I
red
said.
flag. The things they describe
That's definitely a
as
red
seeing
flag.
Dark figures, that of Worthless319, which we already covered on the channel, so make sure to watch that after this video. Eventually,
Wordless 319 was the video we watched. It's about the Redditor who claimed he blew his cock off to save the world with a gun. I'm pretty sure it was all a hoax. I looked into it further after the stream. I'm almost 100% sure that was all just a big, like, ooh, so edgy kind of thing. The pictures weren't even of, like, a dick that had been shot by a gun. It was just more of, like, a really deformed, weird wiener. Like, I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, that was definitely not like a real thing. But the penectomy shit is real. There are people that do actually cut their cocks and all of that, but it wasn't that Redditor doing it.
Snapped Fingers questions the reality of there being a hell portal in the Paris catacombs and explains that they're booking a flight to put an end to this. Thus, the former limestone mine
Someone got
from
lost in the
became a
Paris
space
catacombs and
referred to
died.
as the catacombs. So yeah, it's a
I think
very
there's like a
creepy
YouTube
place
video
which you
about
can
it.
actually go visit some of it. I used to run track back when I was in junior high school. I can likely outrun any possessed people. I am excited to finally close this chapter of my life and shut that blasted portal off
Christ.
for good. Now, personally, I do think this person was suffering from schizophrenia. Or, I could be completely wrong, this could be someone just looking for attention. The thing with these Redditor stories
Most
that we
likely
talk about
attention
the
when
channel
on
is that
Reddit.
we don't. r/coming on figurines.
Eh?
35.
That's what I was just fucking talking about. This is where they'll do like U2's, Marvel figurines, all kinds of shit. I was just talking about that. Yeah, this one's kind of popular. They go kind of wild. All right.
/cum tagging 2,000 members. So yeah, this was just the guys splurging on objects. Men splurging on objects. I mean, that's it. There's nothing more to explain to that. We have public trash cans, airport toilet paper holders, campus bathrooms.
I
and
actually-
doors. Yeah.
So I don't know about cum tagging, but I do know there was a. I don't want to give too much away about the guy. I've talked about it before. We've talked about it before on the podcast. We used to have this thing where we talk to people from the Patreon podcast, and one of the people that was a regular is a U.S. soldier, and he was on a submarine. He was on one of the nuclear subs. So in between his tours, he'd come on to the hangout with us, and he'd always tell us this story, like the stories about like the people on the subs to pass time will literally just like come on things in the sub. I don't know how real that is or if it was just like his degenerate crew or whatever, but it's apparently like super common, at least on that vessel, because he would talk about it like pretty much every time he came back. Do we have any other like submarine boys in here that can confirm or deny? What episode? No, it was like just hangouts where we just talked to people. It was a while ago. We haven't done that in a couple of years now. I heard living on those is fucking horrible. Oh, it sounds absolutely miserable. Yeah, it sounds true. I can't imagine a worse career than being on a submarine. You can't leave it. You're confined to such tight space, and apparently all your friends are just ejaculating on everything. Sounds terrible.
I found a lot of subreddits that are now archived. They don't exist anymore, right? But we have r/beating women. We have r/r-wording women.
Jesus
we have
Christ.
r/hate women. We have r/just r-word. I'm not gonna go through what. I mean, you guys can imagine.
Yeah,
It's just
I can pretty
guys,
much take a
hate
guess.
me, or look at the suggestions.
Oh
That's enough
my
to tell you.
god, what the fuck is this? There's a thing on Reddit where like almost every sub has the same moderators. I wonder if they were mods on here. I imagine at least one or two of them were. There's only like 100 mods on all of Reddit, and they happen to mod every other subreddit on that fucking site. Like, there's some mods that are literally a power mod of 100 other different subreddits. Was that first one Tub Girl? I didn't read it.
Pissers Gone Wild. 1.2 thousand members. We fuck shit up. This community is for the dedicated sink pissers who want to take their game to the next level.
Fuck yeah,
Created in
finally.
2019. This is a subreddit dedicated to people peeing in sinks.
Finally,
Asking
my kind of
why
people.
is pointless at this point. We're
My
talking
brethren.
about Reddit. And I'm sure some of them are going to watch this. My videos get very popular now. And if I'm offending any of you, I'm sorry. I don't want any of you to fucking pull up to my house and start peeing in my sink.
True, you don't want to
That's at least
fuck with
what
the
I want.
sink
It's not like I have a
pissers.
piss kink or anything. I don't. I mean, imagine going to a friend's house and then thinking, oh boy, I can't wait to take a piss in their sink and record it for
I'm sure everyone's pissed in a sink at least once in their life. Like, let's not mince
Make
words.
sure to leave a like, and if you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe.
We've all been 2 or 3
User
Bud Lights deep,
Condor_salesman.
19 years old,
An
and
extremely sad story.
it's
of
a little
Redditors'
wacky.
Last word. r/jailbait. The Urban Dictionary
Oh, that was a
definition
big
for
one back
jailbait
in
is
the
a
day.
Female who is under the age of consent.
That shit
but
was
who dresses,
fucked.
acts, and at the time, Eric Martin.
They
Reddit's
used it at the
general
front
manager,
page
defended
almost
several
every
notorious
week.
subreddits, including jailbait, by claiming that it was one of the side effects of promoting free expression on the web. Reddit administrators took down the subreddit after a user shared a picture of an underage teenager, saying that he had nude photos of her as well. And many users were requesting, send me. Yeah, it's just pretty disgusting stuff.
Yeah, he's underselling how popular that was. Back when I first found Reddit, I would have been, what, a junior in high school? Jailbait was usually on the front page. That was a massive fucking subreddit. What year would that have been? 2011-ish? It was fucking crazy. Yeah, and that was like, for some reason on Reddit, that like was totally normal. And I remember someone made a big hoopla. I don't remember, it might have been our atheism, to be honest, because that was also huge then. Someone made like a huge hoopla, like, why the fuck are we just allowing like open pedophiles on the site? Like, super transparent. And they're like, no, jailbait's fine. Jailbait's good for Reddit, actually. It was like a huge controversy when people were like, we need to get jailbait the fuck out of here. But they fought tooth and nail. That was on there for a long time. Like a really long time. Much longer than you would expect.
Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. Don't click off yet. Don't click off yet.
I knew
wanna
almost
say
all of
something. In the
those.
community, people were saying that I
He didn't
just,
even
like,
cover
steal
True
video
Cells, which
idea
is
topics,
surprising.
And I just cover them in a mediocre way. Which
Do you guys remember True Cells? That was a little bit before the big incel explosion. Wow. Most people don't seem to remember it. True Cells was they were the progenitor to modern incels. They had a lot of very sad dudes that would post shit like women should be kept on farms and men should be allowed to buy women to fuck them. Like really horrible stuff. Like incel shit before it became mainstream. That one was pretty wild. They had like full websites full of like hundreds of pages where people would like write some real gross shit and their weird view on the world. Oh, that was another one he didn't cover. The sounding subreddit. That actually might still be popping off. I remember the sounding subreddit was pretty wild in its infancy. There was a guy that stuck like a pretty sizable dildo in his cock hole. Of course, it wasn't like full-sized or anything, but it was still like a fucking impressive feat. Yeah, sounding is when you put things in your urethra. And there was a subreddit for it. I'm assuming it's still there. Did it hurt? I don't know, man. I'm not that guy. I would imagine it would. Yeah. I would guess. People keep recommending the Worthless 319. I think I've seen it, but I don't really know. I'll look it up. So chat seems divided on whether or not we've watched this. It sounds really familiar to me, and this time frame seems about right. Definitely haven't seen this one, but I think we've seen this. I don't know, really? Okay, let's see.
Today, I'll cover one of the most disturbing cases ever on Reddit. I also want to give a fair warning. Viewer discretion
Andrew
is
files,
advised.
okay.
It's so unique, I haven't seen anything that comes close to this in terms of authenticity. I also highly discourage you from looking any of this up since it's very graphic and it could potentially haunt you for life.
Is it a toss problem on Twitch, or does he not show anything? Doesn't show anything? Okay.
Some of you might already be familiar with this user since this topic is more or less 3 years old. In the replies, he has a few interactions with people about spirituality.
These are the bits cryo.
He's afraid of suffering, and people tell him to take it slow and to not read too much into it, but he seems to be unable to do so. But it gets very dark in the replies.
Sounds like the dude
The
from that,
universe is crucifying.
like, Da Vinci Code that keeps
I have
hitting
removed
himself
my
with a
penis and both
like the
testicles,
stick,
but roughly 1 inch
like the
of the base remains.
flail or whatever.
Primal instinct, etc., tells me to remove it. The first time I used a gun, now I must use a knife, and it is going to be exceedingly difficult and painful compared to a few trigger pulls. After getting
What?
the advice to consider
He removed his penis with a gun. I mean, that sounds like a lie. That wouldn't even work. That's like that carnival game where you shoot out a star with the BBs. You'd have to do like a full fucking line. Well, I guess I mean, you could be using a higher caliber bullet to be actually. I didn't even think of that.
In this post, he goes to length explaining how he
Makes it
circumcised
Prince.
himself, shot his own dick 4 times with a revolver, and then fried and ate it. He also lost his left testicle in the process.
That was the thing on
and
Cannibal
ended
Cafe.
up at the hospital. In a different reply, he explains that he sauteed his own penis and then ate it. And someone was curious as to how it tasted, and he claims that it tastes like chicken, and that he cut it in half since he almost vomited trying to eat the whole thing. He
This
states
seems
that
very
he's only
fake.
following God's will. He also is willing to send the images of his doings to people who are doubting him. Against all doubts, OP delivered.
Okay, does he actually, in this video, let me see. Let me make sure he doesn't actually show the pictures if there are any. Before continuing though, I will say, having pictures doesn't necessarily confirm that. You guys remember the BME Pain Olympics where there's the video of the dude cutting his cock off? It's fake. You can fake those things. You can easily, well, easily might not be the right word depending on how the pictures look, but yeah, you can absolutely fake it. He posted the pics. Again, I guess they could be real. It sounds unbelievable, but I guess it is possible. I'm just saying, like with the BME Pain Olympics where everyone's like, can you believe this guy cut his own cock off on camera? That was fake. That is a confirmed fake video. So I'm sure you could also fake pictures too.
Who expressed their doubts.
The way he's talking about it seems like he's
Now,
fishing
I
for
wish you are
attention.
merely
That's
making
the
a
impression
laugh
I
for
get.
yourself. What followed was something that probably no
It
one
wasn't
expected.
fake. Again, how do people not know this? This was a big deal. The creator of the BME Pain Olympics even came forward saying, yes, that shock video, all of that was fake. Now, it's not everything that the creator has posted being fake, but that video in particular is fake. Because the person behind it, Shannon Larrett, is Devin Larrett's brother. He passed away now, but before then, he did publicly state that it was a fake video. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Here's the article. Yeah, so it is in this interview. It goes over Shannon. I probably can't even show this website. The man responsible for the creation of this site was Shannon Larrett. Shannon was himself one of the first people in the West to have his tongue split and among the first 3 people to ever receive an eyeball tattoo. Shannon's BME website would gain further notoriety after he created a fake but very convincing shock video titled BME Pain Olympics Final Round. I actually didn't know this part. This video originally concluded with a disclaimer noting that the footage was not genuine. However, shortly after being passed around the internet, the disclaimer was removed, leaving many viewers to believe that they were actually watching self-performed castrations and penectomies. Yeah, so that, like I said, that video was fake.
This guy is insane. He made multiple posts stating that he shot his own penis 4 times.
This has been proven fake. The worthless 319? Right, hold on. Nah, I'm deep in it now. Where? Like I said, just because there are pictures doesn't mean the pictures are genuine there. And the way he talks about it is literal Reddit, like, attention seeking. There's a whole Reddit about it being debunked. Fuck, okay, I'll have to go to that after, then I don't feel like going that far out of the way now. I'll finish at least getting the lore here.
He basically sees himself as a prophet, receiving direct orders
Who's to say he
from
wasn't?
God to save mankind. Here's a more
God did some
reply
fucked
from
up
him,
shit to the
which
people
goes
that,
more
like,
in
followed
depth.
him back in the day.
It reads, "It's extremely unpleasant and a daily question why God chose
He's the
me.
prime
I'm
punch.
the most average person I can think of."
Oh, he's the
He
hero.
also states that he had visits at insane asylums 5 times. Universe.
Why would you fake
What's also interesting
attention
is
just
that
like
he
this?
calls his doings
People this insane don't type this coherently. It reads like someone trying their best to play the role of
in the
like a
replies
crazy
on another
genital
post where he
mutilating
again
person.
asks for advice. He
It
details that
reads
he
very
uploaded the
fake.
castration.
There still is a chance
Now,
it's not
I
though.
think Worthless 319 always ignored these concerns.
Damn.
Without any exception.
We tried.
Now, before we proceed, you may be curious as to how he even releases himself. He shares his experiences
Out his butt.
in a reply. It reads,
Redirected
"I'm
it.
pissed sitting down. If you're talking about orgasmic, since I finished castrating myself, I haven't gotten turned on once. Before castration, I had one nut. I blew apart my left one. I could come very easily by thought alone." In other posts, he shares his state of mind. "I especially fear the end of humanity as it approaches. It's inches away. Centimeters.
Goddamn 5G.
No one understands me, especially myself. I called an ambulance after about 5 minutes of listening to music, laying on the ground.
Yeah, this
and
definitely
don't
is
remember
fake.
much of the, and I want to go through a few.
There's a website that shows his deleted Reddit history, not remove edit. Yeah, it doesn't prove that those pictures are either A, real, or B, him. There are people, and I do know this is a thing, I think it's called a penectomy, I think. There are people that have actually cut their cock off online, and there's videos of it. But I don't think this guy was one of them, because he just keeps making Reddit posts like he's an anime villain or something going into a monologue. I don't think this is, like, real. But the actual act of someone cutting their own cock off and shit, that is something that some absolute maniacs have done. Ooh, how deep does it go?
He wanted to end himself by bleeding out of his pelvic area to prevent a conflict between North Korea and the States.
It might have
He took
worked too. We
psychosis
still haven't
inducing
entered into a
substances
conflict.
like DMT and LSD. There were people who were motivating Worthless to further self-mutilate himself in the name of religion. The users doing that deleted their accounts. So, as for information about Worthless,
Charlie, I saw the images. The dude has no dick. Like I said, on the internet, it's called a penectomy. There are people that have literally cut their own cocks off. There was even on this was a big one, the Cannibal Cafe. Cannibal Cafe, what was his name? Armin Minsk, something like that. The user on Cannibal Cafe said, "Hey, I want my cock cut off and I want to eat it." Oh, there we go. Armin Muse. On Cannibal Cafe, back in the early 2000s, there was a dude who's like, "I want my cock to be cut off and then eaten. Will anyone oblige?" Someone did, got together, literally cut his dick off, they ate it, he bled out in the bathtub. Like, there are people, and there are real videos and images of people cutting off and mutilating their own cocks. No doubt that exists. What I'm saying is this Reddit user is most likely not the one that is doing what's described or shown in those images. It's very likely he just took some of those stills from the videos or those pictures and is then making this story around this whole thing for attention. Because the way he writes is very much like a Redditor seeking attention. Just going by the way he writes. Again, could be totally wrong. It could genuinely be him. I'm just saying all of this seems super fake. He's making posts in other subreddits like, "Hey, how do I do this? I actually shot my nut off, which is why I'm asking, because I'm trying to save the America from North Korea using LSD, parentheses, God's drug. Again, I shot my nut off and then I castrated myself. I've been bleeding and it's painful, but I'm doing it for you guys. By the way, how do I do this?" Like, it seems like he's fishing for attention at every possible step with his post. That's what it seems like.
you could argue that it's too sensitive to receive media coverage, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, it would. It
It's
would
not the
absolutely
first
receive
time
coverage.
that something like that would get reported in Florida.
He's going to bring up
Here,
Cannibal
for
Cafe.
instance, we have a similar case,
Or not.
which received media coverage. You truly need to be fucked up in your head to stick to this for months, making threats and posts and also sharing grotesque images. Goodbye.
That was interesting. Again, I think that whole story is fake. Pictures, probably not, but the story, at least surrounding them with that user, I think definitely are. And luckily, it looks like we have a penis scientist in here. I've seen the pictures. They 100% weren't from him. He claimed to have shot his penis, but most of the pictures were shaved. A burn there would have simply prevented hair growth, at least in some spots. And there's also no wound in the area in any of the pics, just the absent penis. Yeah, I haven't seen the pictures, so I can't really analyze them myself. But I have been playing a lot of LA Noire, so if I do see them, I'll probably be able to get some clues. But I'm not going to do it on stream. Good evening, everyone. It's with a heavy heart that I have to deliver some tragic news that I'm sure you've already seen and have probably spent the better part of your afternoon crying about. Reddit is currently down. The narwhal is not baconing today, my friends. This is not a wholesome Chungus moment. Reddit is offline, and there's good reason for it. Many of you probably saw over the last week or so that there was an organized protest with most of the subreddits on the platform about API changes, and maybe there's too much mumbo-jumbo, scary, frightening big words and and acronyms that you didn't even bother to look into. So that's what I'm going to do here, is break down the situation on why there was a Reddit strike in the first place, and what the future could hold for all the Reddit mods that are now stranded without a home to go back to, or a place, a domain to rule over. Now, I joke about the situation, but Reddit is legitimately one of the top 10 most visited sites in the world, so the fact that it's down right now due to this strike is actually really impressive. Like, it's genuinely surprising how much the community came together in order to protest the Reddit changes. So, what sparked this Armageddon, this doomsday for Redditors? It was a change to how Reddit was going to be conducting business. They did their best EA impression here and got very greedy. So they decided they were going to start charging for API access, and they were charging a fucking fat load of barnacles for it too. API access allows things like third-party apps to exist. It needs the API access to function, and Reddit was going to begin charging for that access. So the biggest one is called Apollo, and it helps users read Reddit threads. It's something many power users were familiar with, but something I didn't know about until recently. And according to the developer of Apollo, it would cost nearly $20 million annually under this new pricing model, which is a ton of pickles. That's far beyond the realm of possibility for pretty much any third-party developer. So effectively, Reddit was killing third-party apps because nobody could afford to pay the API fee for their services anymore. And it didn't just affect third-party apps, it also affected mod tools, as I understand it as well. So this new pricing scheme, fresh out of the brain of Mr. Krabs, shaking everyone down for their lunch money, had a large set of consequences that effectively shut off a lot of what people were used to, and it wasn't something that the community was thrilled about. This was not a policy change that was getting a lot of updates. So the community, as well as a lot of the biggest subreddit mods, as well as just the biggest subreddits in general, came together and decided that they were going to do a strike, a Reddit blackout, where they're going to be taking their subreddits private, meaning you can't access them anymore, basically just shutting them down temporarily. And that's led to our current situation. There was even a live stream tracking how many subreddits were going offline, and it's still going right now, and you can see it's a lot. I also tuned into this stream a little bit last night, and I bore witness to one of the saddest things I've ever laid my eyes upon. Breaking news, r/tits went down. That'll finally put the pressure on the Reddit admins to overturn their decision here. No more r/tits. Jesus Christ, it's getting serious. And it's only continued to get more serious. We're in the endgame now. Not only is r/tits banished to the Shadow Realm in protest, r/tinytits has also vanished. So if that doesn't put the screws on the Reddit admins to overturn this greedy policy, I just don't know what will. Now, I genuinely do think that this strike has been remarkably successful. This is a legitimate "we did it, Reddit" moment. The site isn't working because so many subreddits have gone offline. It's not like Reddit themselves, like the upper echelon of the Reddit Illuminati, came in and just shut it down or something and as their form of protest. This is the site not working because so many communities are all going private at once, it seems. When you just try and go on the site's front page, it doesn't generate anything for you, it just kind of says there's a problem. But if you directly go to one of the subreddits that isn't participating in the protest, it will work. Mudahar just made a video covering this, and he went to r/sinkpissers, and they were still online. That was 3 hours ago, and I just tried it again. And these brave patriots pissing in sinks are still here operating just fine on the platform. So it's not like Reddit itself is down, it's just so many subreddits have gone private that the website doesn't seem to know what to generate on the front page anymore. But if you go to a specific subreddit that isn't participating, it still functions. So, like, if you really love sink pissing, then you can go there and consume that content with no problem at all. This is actually a really interesting situation because Reddit is a legitimate top 10 most visited website in the world. It is a platform that everyone accesses at some point, and I make jokes about Reddit a lot and Redditors in particular, but that's not because I think the platform sucks or anything. I think it actually does have legitimate use from time to time. I think most of the subreddits are dog shit, like most of the default subs and all of that are just absolute worthlessness. But there are certain communities that are just dedicated to providing information in specific areas that have proven time and time again for myself and many friends to actually be a very good resource to learn things and figure out how to fix problems. Like, you get the information without all of the bloat of looking it up on an article. It's just the best way of sometimes getting quick fixes to problems. So I really do think Reddit as a platform does provide a good service from time to time, though the water does get muddy with how awful a lot of the other subs are. But overall, I don't think it's like the worst website ever. That title still belongs comfortably to either Twitter or Facebook. Pick your poison. So to see that this strike is actually like effectively shutting down Reddit for most people is very impressive. And I think it's a good thing overall, because I never support when a company gets greedy like this. So I think standing up against it is great. And Reddit is a platform that legitimately can't exist without the Reddit mods and the subreddits and all of that. It is entirely community driven. All of the content on that platform is user generated. So if the users never flip back on the subreddits, you lose all of the content, thus there's no reason to ever go to Reddit ever again. If they just pack up and go elsewhere like a mass exodus. This is like fucking rapture for Redditors here at this point. Like, it is a pretty big deal. Now, I do think this entire Reddit blackout, all the protests here, have kind of shot themselves in the foot, because they made it clear for a lot of the big subreddits that are offline right now that they were only doing it for 48 hours. Which I think was a huge fucking blunder. You just gave up scholars, mate, right there. That doesn't really put a ton of pressure on the Reddit higher up anymore, because you have given them an end date. You have told them when it stops. So they can just grit their teeth and bear it. Just endure for 2 days, and then it's business as usual. Just 2 days of fucking holding on tight like it's a goddamn roller coaster, and then you're back into clear skies. They shouldn't have said that they're only going offline for 2 days. I just don't think that puts enough pressure on them to actually get rid of the pricing model here for the API, because they only have 2 days of their service being offline. I mean, that shit happens all the time in MMOs just for normal maintenance when things fuck up, right? Like, it's not going to all of a sudden change the way they're viewing their business model. I know some subreddits are going offline indefinitely, but a lot of the ones that I've read are doing 48 hours. And I think the reason that they made it known that it's a 48-hour protest is so that way the community members didn't think that it was dead forever. They didn't want them to feel like now they no longer have that community to go to for information. So I think it was just trying to keep them updated with what's going on. But in doing so, I think it was a bit of a misstep for the overall strike, because like I said, with only a 48-hour offline period, Reddit I don't think is going to overturn this decision, because they'll just get away with it after 2 days. But I would quickly like to toy around with the idea that this does end up killing Reddit as a website entirely. It ceases to exist. That would be, I think, the biggest collapse of a service ever. Like, I was talking about this on stream, but the one that immediately popped in my head was MySpace, when MySpace ultimately failed. And then Tumblr, which I actually just totally forgot about. But Tumblr was another, top 10 website that killed itself when it banned porn. That pretty much buried it on the spot when they implemented that new policy. I know it still is around, it's just not even close to how popular it used to be. But with Reddit, this could be a legitimate, dead site. If the community doesn't come back, if they don't all unprivate their subreddits, if they go elsewhere or something, then that website can't exist anymore, because it is legitimately only user-generated content. You lose the users, you lose the whole site. And I remember reading last night, as well as I'd always heard this before, that only the top 5 Reddit mods control a large portion of the top subreddits. So all of your subreddits, for the most part, that people go to, your default subs, your huge players, are controlled by the same 5 people. If you piss them off and they all just leave and take the subreddits offline with them, they alone have dealt a very deep blow to Reddit itself. So that is pretty crazy, just how much power the people have on Reddit in terms of this protest and its impact on the site as a whole. So overall, I just find this whole thing very fascinating, and I am hoping for the best outcome here. I hope that the community wins here and Reddit won't charge this crazy exorbitant fee for API access, because there's nothing wrong with having third-party apps, right? I think most people would agree, in a lot of cases, third-party apps are much better than the official one. I don't use the official Reddit app, but from everything I understand, it's a pile of shit compared to the other options available from third-party developers. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See ya. One of life's greatest pleasures is a nice big I told you so moment, and today I get to wiggle my finger and celebrate one of these beautiful situations. However, I'll be honest, it's bittersweet because it's something I wanted to be wrong about. This is less of a celebration and more of just some sadness. It's about the whole Reddit situation. I've made 2 videos covering it, so I don't want to just keep vomiting and regurgitating the same points I've already made, but basically, Redditors were striking due to some changes Reddit made in terms of its pricing, which fundamentally shuts out third-party apps, which are very popular for Reddit. So in response, the community privated like 10,000 subreddits, which basically shut down Reddit for a whole day. The protests were only scheduled for 48 hours, which is really silly to give them an end date. They basically had an E3 announcement where they had a press conference saying, we're protesting on this date till this date, and that's it. Which is kind of a weak threat. It reminds me of that shit out of Simpsons where it's like, I'm gonna swing my arms really fast, and if you run into it, it's your fault if you get hit. It's not a very powerful threat. It's not a ton of pressure on Reddit since they know when it's gonna stop. 2 days. So they just have to grit their teeth, bear it for 2 days, and then it's back to business as usual. And the Reddit CEO recognized that, pretty much just laughing in their face about it and spitting on them, saying like, yeah, we'll just wait 2 days. We're not changing anything. They are sticking to their guns. The Reddit CEO, Steve, has said that it's their business decision, and they're not going back on it. This is a picture of the Reddit CEO. I always like to bring up an image of him now because I just can't believe that he literally looks like the mental image anyone puts in their head when they hear the term Redditor. It's like he was created in a lab to embody Reddit as a whole. Like, it looks like he is the product of a million years of fine-tuned evolution to become a Redditor. So Steve Huffman just said, we're just going to wait it out. Some of the subreddits in response said, okay, fuck you then, we're going to stay offline forever until you change this. And now Steve Huffman has once again played hardball and did exactly as I speculated he might. Steve is threatening the Reddit mods that are protesting, but he's not threatening their life or anything like that. He's threatening something much more important than a Reddit mod's life: their power trip. He is threatening to remove their moderator status of the subreddits if they don't reopen, which is legitimately a Reddit mod's worst nightmare. Not having the ability to ban users they don't like in a subreddit for a job they do for free. That is an incomprehensible, cruel, and unusual fate worse than death. So Steve went straight for their throat. He knew what the most important thing to a Reddit mod was: that power trip. If a moderator team unanimously decides to stop moderating, we'll invite new active moderators to keep these spaces open and accessible to users. And I'm certain they still won't be paid for it. I don't know where he's going to find those moderators. I don't know if he's holding open auditions or tryouts to be a Reddit mod. But I guarantee you probably won't see a single goddamn penny if you get this position here. Because he doesn't need to pay the mods. For some reason, so many people flock to this position just for the passion of power. No matter how trivial it is, to just be the moderator, the fucking unpaid janitor of a subreddit, for some reason is enough for people. That they'll do anything to maintain it. And believe it or not, this threat completely worked. A ton of subreddits that were still closed yesterday are now reopened. Now, this is where the I told you so comes into play, because in the video I made on this a few days ago, I said this. So I am rooting for them here, but I am not expecting a huge change from Reddit here. I don't think they're going to go back on their decision. I think what's most likely to happen is the Reddit CEO will just install new Reddit mods and then force the subreddits to unprivate. He'll just go behind the scenes internally, flip the switch, have the subreddits go live again, get rid of the mods that were protesting, install, new mods that'll just be his little puppets that he can control, and that'll be how Reddit gets back on track. That's my theory, once again, purely speculation from a dumb idiot. Well, that idiot doesn't sound so dumb after all. Like when Isaac Newton discovered gravity, I discovered something everyone knew was going to happen. This wasn't a unique take, this wasn't a hot take. A lot of people were talking about this likely being the path Reddit goes down, and unfortunately they did. I was really rooting for the Redditors in this case here because I hate greedy corporations that pull shit like Reddit just did. Them getting away with that is infuriating, and I thought there was a chance this protest could lead to positive change. I was a bit skeptical, but I mean, on day one of the Reddit blackout, the whole site was, not functional. So they did do, legitimate damage to the site. So I thought there was a chance good change could come from this, but I didn't calculate just how important that moderator status was to Redditors. Like a moth to a flame. They're addicted to that power. It's more potent than the purest fucking blue meth in the world, I guess. You know, it's peanut butter, but without the jelly, and they needed the jelly. So when they were threatened with losing their moderator position on their subreddits, a very large chunk of the subreddits that were still private went public again today. And they did release statements on the subreddits. I'm just going to show you one of them from Livestream Fail. They got grilled heavily for this statement. They got cooked like a fucking pot of spaghetti. They said, LSF is back. This was not our decision. Earlier, we received a threatening message from Reddit admins. It told us in no uncertain terms what would happen if we continue to keep the subreddit closed, and was also a clear attempt to turn moderators against each other if necessary. Multiple subreddits received this aggressive message, which I'm pretty sure all of the ones that were still protesting did. I don't know what they mean by turning moderators against each other. This isn't the fucking Game of Thrones. If you just keep it private and all agree like, hey, what Reddit's done is really greedy and fucked up, I don't know how there's necessarily going to be a mutiny here like out of Pirates of the Caribbean with Barbossa rising up or some shit. Like, I feel like all of you are on the same page for the protest, so I don't know how it would turn people against each other, but I don't know what the message said. So after much deliberation, we have decided to reopen the subreddit. Our current team is responsible for a number of custom tools and safeguards that make LSF easier to use and safer for everyone, and no incoming mod team would be able to access them. We have multiple tailor-made bots working on every post for moderation purposes and for quality of life features like automatic flares and clip mirrors. You would immediately see a difference if a new team was assigned to LSF, and we believe it would make the subreddit worse than ever. We're continuing to deliberate the API issue amongst ourselves and are looking for workarounds, but for now we're back. Happy clipping, everyone. Friendly unicorns create kindness, spreading positive energy zealously. This same kind of message was posted on many big subreddits on the site after the threats from Steve. I think it's very embarrassing to read, because the way they talk about their subreddit makes it seem like it's their life's work. So the statement here about like how we've created these incredible innovative tools, like real fucking sci-fi shit, like automatic flares to make it safe and easy for everyone to use. Like we don't want to envision a world, we don't want to live in a dystopia where LSF doesn't have all these incredible tools we made for it. So in order to keep LSF so pure and incredible, we were forced to reopen. Like, it's not some kind of inelastic good that people can't go without. It's just a fucking subreddit. It's just a place for people to go and post goofy clips or go to post drama or go to complain. Like, if it does end up being a worse place without this moderation team in there, people will just stop using it or go elsewhere, and that's not a big deal. Like, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? Like, I just don't understand why they view these subreddits as, like, the most important pillars of our society. And that the mods view themselves as heroes, champions of justice, because they moderate a fucking subreddit. They're just doing a job for free. And the second that they even be challenged on it, like, hey, we're gonna get rid of your mod status, they panic and reopen the sub and then try and spin it like they did it for everyone else's sake. Like this was some kind of sacrifice they made. Like, no, these tools are so good, you need them. So, you know, we're going to abandon our convictions and reopen the subreddit because they said we might not be mods anymore and they'll bring a new team in. I don't know. I just find it all very embarrassing to read. Like, the protest did work. Like, I do think you can mark it as a success. It accomplished exactly what it aimed to do on day one. The problem was they weren't strong enough to stick with it. They just weren't. For some reason, these subreddit mods view their communities in a much bigger way than the world views them, if that makes sense. So when these things stay down for an extended period of time, I believe that these mods are under the impression that all of a sudden the world is a worse place for it. So, you know, they have to get it back up quickly so that way that people have a home to go back to and, you know, all of the information can still be easily accessible so that way the world keeps running, right? But if they had just stuck with it, I really think they could have put a lot of pressure on Reddit. Again, the site literally didn't even work on day one because of how successful this protest was. If you could have kept that intensity and that energy across a longer period of time, Reddit would really have no choice but to fold to you or make these threats, which you, as a community, a team, would be able to come together and be like, nope, we're still going to keep it down. And yeah, I'm sure there's always going to be some pathetic people that will do some unpaid Reddit volunteer work for free, But in that case, like the LSF team mentioned, it wouldn't have any of the tools that they were using. Thus, it would be a worse subreddit that people would leave, and with more people leaving, that's bad for Reddit. So you would still be accomplishing your protest goal. It's just, I don't know. They gave up with a single threat, and that threat wasn't even a scary one. It was, hey, you might not be a mod if you keep this behavior up, buddy. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, being a Reddit mod is like an insult at this point. They'd be doing you a favor. It's so comical. It is the most on-brand Reddit mod behavior. It's fucking crazy. The only thing you risk is your unpaid fucking hall monitor job on Reddit. Like, just take the ban in order to fight for what you're trying to say you believe in. Now, I know and understand that most normal users of Reddit do not give a fuck about the API changes. They don't care. But I do think everyone should care, because I don't think corporations should be able to keep getting away with making more and more greedy decisions that will ultimately make the normal user experience much worse. In this case, the API price changes force out all of the third-party apps that a lot of users were used to, and the third-party apps are better than the official Reddit app, so now you're going to have to settle for a worse service as a result of it. Forcing out third-party apps that are better than the official one is just straight up fucking wrong. And it's going to make your experience as a normal user worse. And these greedy policies are always going to come at a detriment to the normal user experience to the site as a whole. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't really recognize. They think that it's only like affecting Reddit mods, but it's the entire experience of using the platforms. And these greedy policies are only going to continue to spiral out of control. And in this case, there was a legitimate chance to put real pressure on the corporation itself to try and walk back one of these egregious, over-the-top greedy decisions. So I do think regular users should care, but I understand they don't, and you can't expect everyone to. But for the Reddit mods, they seem to understand the importance of the decision like this and fighting against it. But they didn't have any fucking backbone at all. All they needed to hear was that they might not be a mod and they fucking lose their mind. Like, holy shit. I guess I can't be surprised. Reddit mod has, like, that position has such a negative connotation around it, and clearly for good reason, I suppose. This is so sad to see a successful protest end this way. But, you know, whatever, I guess. Just wanted to talk about it to give you the update to the situation. That's about it. See ya.
He's got cops.
There he is right there. Here he is right here in the red shirt.
It looks like a dangerous man standing next to a 14-year-old eating ice cream slowly. Get the guns out, boys.
One left.
You're gonna need it for this
everybody's
one.
got cops.
There he is right there. And this guy right here has never had a mom. So, you know.
I let him. Do you remember Ko, the face stealer from Avatar: The Last Airbender? That creature that had a ton of different faces that it stole from its victims? Well, what if that thing was a Redditor? Do I have you piddling in your britches yet from this scary campfire story? I should, because it's real. I know Reddit and creeps go together like macaroni and cheese, but this particular specimen is special. He's like an SCP of pure delusion, cringe, and obsession. A dangerous mix, a recipe for disaster. And over the course of like 2 or so years, he's made a bunch of different accounts in order to message one lady in particular. And I'm sure this isn't the only person he's been messaging through all of these accounts. I imagine all of the other people are probably just too afraid to show anything or talk about anything in regards to this guy, because they're probably fearing for their lives. They're probably worried that he's going to show up at their doorstep and turn them into furniture like Ed Gein, because this guy is a fucking freak. I haven't gone over weirdo messages in a while, so I thought it was time to dust off the swamp ass throne here to take a peek. The messages we're about to look at are the newest. They're only a couple of days old, and they come years after she thought she had already defeated this menace. But I guess there was a post-credit scene with like a hand reaching from the grave, and now he's back. And he's found her on Instagram, and he's starting to harass her there. Now, Buddy starts by activating his Sharingan of Riz. He's alting. He says, "Hey, can I slide her? We spoke on Reddit for a while." What an incredible opening line. This is no doubt a pickup artist. This guy fucks. Naturally, she asks, "Who is this?" Because there's no profile picture here. I imagine the account name is some kind of like throwaway nonsense that looks like an Xbox Live arcade code. And he says, "I don't know how to describe it. It was also some time ago, but you have a great profile, ha ha ha, and amazing highlights. You seem very outgoing. Weaving a bit of mystery in there. This guy's good. You know me, but I'm not going to tell you who I am. I actually don't know how to describe it, actually. Who am I? An existential question. If you subscribe to solipsism, I mean, we don't need to get into the weeds of it, but you have such an amazing profile, m'lady. And I'm just the gentle sir for you. She presses him, saying, what do you mean you don't know how to describe it? Because that just doesn't compute. What do you mean you can't describe who you are if we spoke before? You come in here out of the blue unprompted saying that you know me, and then you can't describe that? What the fuck is wrong with you? What insane asylum did you squeak out of by accident? I mean, like, I can't remember anything besides how you look like, and I don't have our chats anymore. Only this right now. I don't even know your name. You even shot with guns. You Americans are crazy. She's talking to a lobotomite. He's suffering from amnesia, it sounds like. What do you mean you don't know? Like, you said we spoke on Reddit. You don't remember your Reddit account name or anything? And he tries to reassure her, oh, I don't even know your name, actually. I only remember what you look like. And just going off of that picture in my head, in my mind's eye, I was able to find your Instagram account somehow. Dude's trying to cosplay like he had his brain scrambled by MK Ultra and can't remember anything except for bits and pieces about this lady's appearance. He is very clearly just trying to avoid saying the Reddit name because he knows that she'll know that it's that weirdo creep from years ago that kept making tons of different accounts to keep harassing her. Also, I think I should clarify this because it may have been confusing. It started 2 years ago, but it wasn't like some one-time instance where this guy just made like a ton of different accounts and she blocked them all and that was it, just, you know, put the kibosh on it. He continued to do this for a long period of time. Like, there's a post from her from 2 years ago with him doing it, a post from a year ago with him doing it, so he's kept doing this behavior for a long time, and now this is just his most recent rodeo here again. Somehow, Creepy Redditor returned. The Creepy Redditor of 1,000 faces. She says again, who are you? I don't know. That's the only thing I know. Maybe I told you my name and you'll remember? It's blank. I imagine whatever name he gave right there isn't his real name. He probably just dropped an alias or just a fake name that he probably thought sounded cool. I bet my sweet Bippy that he just chose a name that he lifted from anime. Oh yeah, it's me, Thorfinn. You don't remember anything, do you? And what's your name? Sorry, but I forgot. What do you mean you don't remember anything? You've given her no information. What the fuck are you talking about? What is she supposed to be trying to remember here? You are a complete stranger who hasn't even left like a single fucking breadcrumb to piece this puzzle together. She says, what's your name on Reddit? Point blank. That should be super easy to answer. And he goes, wait, let me think. Actually, it could be, I don't remember. Damn, it was so long ago. I don't know, I can't see the chat. I think you blocked me. But still, you are a bigger red flag than me. Oh boy howdy, he just dropped a bombshell and immediately goes on the defensive. I think you blocked me. But it's because you're a huge red flag and you were intimidated by my overwhelming masculinity and the very strong jawline that I have. I've been mewing a lot. You were the problem then, but I'm willing to forgive you. I just don't remember what my Reddit account was. I'm sure you block a lot of people, so this probably wasn't like a dead giveaway, right? I blocked you? This is why you won't tell me your name. I don't know, I am not that familiar. I don't see the chat, and a bit of time has passed. You're from the US, right? I am from Europe. I don't even know what this strategy is here. I blocked you? I don't know, I'm not familiar. It's, a lot of time has passed. You're from the US, right? Hey, did you know I'm from Europe? Said no European ever. Usually, if someone's going to talk about where they're from, they're not just going to say the whole fucking continent. So I'm starting to highly doubt that this guy is actually from Europe. He's probably just in the US and making shit up here. I don't really get what he's even trying to accomplish. It's just so weird. Like, it's not even like flirting or anything. It doesn't do anything. It's actual just like it's like NPC dialogue in a video game that you'd hear in the background that's malfunctioning. Like, it doesn't work. It's not even like statements he's making, it's just disjointed thoughts that he's shitting out. But this was enough to let the cat out of the bag. She says, you're the one who was DMing me from different accounts. Yeah, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling Redditors. So smart, but I can't see the chats anymore. Hopefully you are not creeped out or something, I am sorry. But you have an insane memory, especially if you have to read so much lol. And she just goes, yeah, you're fucking creepy, goodbye. And he says, no! He probably saw that goodbye text message come through and he literally reached at his computer going, no! Like some kind of dramatic death scene in a movie. But now let's take a look at how we got to this point. Let's go to some previous seasons with encounters of this kaiju of cringe. We'll go all the way back to the beginning, 2 years ago. These are the first of the sacred texts, and it actually does look like they were at least exchanging DMs before this conversation happened, before he went full mask off and showed just how weird he was. So he goes, yeah, no worries. You just have to pick the right one, haha. Did someone send you a tribute? And she says, what do you mean? Now, if you've been around the cyberspace for as long as I have, you immediately know what he's talking about. He's talking about a cum tribute. That's something that only the most deplorable of degenerates engage in, where they come on someone's picture, or they even do it to figurines too, where they put them in a jar and then come on it, or sometimes they don't even use the jar. They go no props, they just do it raw. And that is what he is talking to her about here. This guy is so brain rotted that in the middle of like what seems to be some kind of conversation between these two, he starts talking about cum tributing to her. Like a cum tribute to your selfies. Just talking about it so casually, like this is a normal thing that normal, sane people do. What are you talking about? I don't know, I could expect it from Redditors. I love that he tries to talk down on Redditors. He is literally like the quintessential Redditor that people make fun of. I'm so confused. What are you talking about? Like coming to your selfie and sending it to you. Or was that too much? Why would you even say that? Boredom, I guess? That's dangerous. I don't know. I finished studying and I am waiting until I meet friends of mine. He is trying so hard not to seem like a fucking loser, so at the end he's like, oh, I don't know, like something Redditors would do. I'm not like one of them. I'm just kind of bored, you know, I was studying and now I'm waiting for my friends to come over. I got like 50 friends coming over because they wanted to hang out and like smoke cigarettes with me and shit, because like that's kind of what we do, and then maybe I'll end up having a threesome tonight, but I kind of just want to talk to you about all this splooge news, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm just kind of hanging out is all. Now, apparently she blocked him after that. I can't imagine why. And he was just as perplexed as I am. His confusion was so strong that he made a new account to message her again and try and get to the bottom of this mystery. Come on. And then I think he says her name there. Like, I am not doing anything, just being high. Like, come on, you can't get mad at him just for being high and talking about cum tributes. Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, I have a soul. Are you serious? You text me from a new account? You're the creepiest person I've met on here. Seriously. It's getting weird, yeah, but I enjoyed talking to you. Please stop. Send a selfie. I will also send one. No, fuck you. No! I don't know. I think we could have a good chat. Dropping his signature classic, no! Right before being blocked. I like that. I like how he says that they can have a good chat if given the chance. But it seemed like they were chatting, and then things just went off the rails, completely unhinged, with him bringing up busting a load, like tributes to her. I don't know what he expected. I don't know why he thinks that's something that's normal. And he also just in the middle of this asks for a selfie and then tries to bargain by saying, I'll give you one. Like, you know, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. Come on, this is a great deal. Show me a selfie and I'll give you one. I know you really want one. Come on. Like it's some kind of gift. It's not like she's asking for a selfie. Nobody wants that. And there's no doubt in my mind he was just going to send some random person's picture. He probably would have chosen like Henry Cavill, like, surprise, it's been me, Henry Cavill, this whole time. Don't you feel silly for blocking me on the other account? All right, now let's talk seriously. Because this guy's probably like, I think he's probably on the much older side of things, just judging by the way he talks. And he has just been so poisoned by being just glued to Reddit that certain things on there, like tributes, he thinks are like normal things that younger people do. So after a couple blocks, he sends another one here from a new account, and it says, okay, will we talk if I send a selfie? Please, I want to prove to you that I am a 20-year-old chilled dude, actually also a romantic. And are you actually doing fitness? Answer this and I will send you a selfie. Nobody fucking wants a selfie. It's not a reward, it's a punishment, it's a goddamn curse, and he keeps saying it. Like, look, if you just answer these questions like, are you into fitness? I'll send you a selfie. You've been begging for one. I'll do it. And please send me one. Come on, it's that easy. He just keeps mentioning that he'll send a selfie like, will we talk if I send one? Will this get you to finally open up to me? Fine, I'll give in and send you one of these, I suppose. Fuck, man, it's so weird. This dude's made a ton of accounts just to keep doing this to this person. And again, I imagine many others, but this is the only text from him that I can find thus far. It's so creepy. I always just find it fascinating how someone like him can exist. You can read these. Like, he's seeing the same messages we are, but to him, it's fine, and she's in the wrong. He even calls her a big red flag. It's fucked up. But yeah, I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Been a while since we checked out some classic creepy messages, and that's about it. So yeah. A few days ago, we witnessed an uprising on the same scale as the American Revolution. It was a huge movement on Reddit, where a lot of the major subreddits and just a generally large number of subreddits on the site all decided to go private, effectively shutting down as a way of protesting a Reddit policy change where they were going to start charging for API access. And it wasn't cheap. We're talking Scrooge McDuck level of wealth here that'd be required to keep up with the API cost. The biggest third-party developer and platform is Apollo for Reddit, and it was estimated to cost $20 million a year under the new pricing guidelines from Reddit for the API access. And all of these third-party apps and developers do need API access to exist, so since none of them can afford to shell out 20 million clams, it effectively kills third-party apps as well as some Reddit mod tools that use API access. And it was a heavily down-duded decision. The community was very upset because third-party apps are the preferred method of perusing Reddit for a lot of people. Apparently, the official Reddit app is complete fucking trash. I'm not a huge power user of Reddit, so I was ignorant to all of that. However, I always stand by my belief that if a third-party app is offering a better service than the official one, it should have the right to exist, and it's wrong to try and force them out just because you made a dog shit official app. And I'm also never, pumping my fist and celebrating a company's insatiable gluttony and greed. So I've been out here with the foam finger on the sidelines cheering and rooting for the Redditors that are striking, and it was actually wildly successful. On day one of the protest, there was like 10,000 subreddits almost that went private. They shut down, which effectively shut down Reddit for the majority of users because they couldn't generate content anymore since there wasn't any content left. Reddit is a platform that only exists because users are on it, so if the users aren't there, there's fucking nothing on Reddit. It has no purpose, no reason to exist. It's like the butter bot from Rick and Morty with no butter. So Reddit wasn't working. It was a wildly successful day one of the strike. And now we're 3 days past the initial strike, and I want to give a little post-game analysis here on where we're at. What you're looking at here is the CEO of Reddit. I've actually never seen him myself here, and he's pretty much exactly the mental image I'd have of a Reddit higher up on the food chain. It actually looks like they just typed Redditor into Midjourney and generated this image. This is the CEO, and he basically came out and said that this whole strike is a big nothing burger. It's not a big deal. It'll pass. All blowups do. And they didn't really see a huge effect on Reddit as a whole from the strikes. Now, unfortunately, I don't think a ton of people are surprised here, and this is something I mentioned in the initial video I made on the situation. There was a huge fumble here, a big fucking blunder on the chessboard opening from the Reddit protests. They gave an end date. They said, we are going dark for 48 hours. They told them when it's going to stop. So most people, myself included, understood that this wasn't going to really put the wood on the Reddit CEO or a ton of pressure to fix anything, because he'd only have to grit his teeth and bear it for 2 days, and then it goes back to business as usual. And that's exactly what he's saying with a shit-eating smile on his face. He is just saying, yeah, it's gonna blow over. We just have to go 2 days here. Oh well. And then he just brushes his shoulder off. No biggie. He banked on Reddit users being more addicted to karma than heroin. So after the 2-day protesting period, users would flock right back to the service like Disney World was opening again and Spider-Man mascots were ready for pictures. So everyone just floods right back to Reddit. And unfortunately, he's kind of right. We're past the 2-day initial protesting period, so a lot of subreddits are no longer private. But there are a ton of them that still are. There's a lot of subreddits that didn't agree with 2 days, saying that's not enough, that's not going to put enough pressure on them, he's just going to endure it and it's not going to lead to change, which I think is the right mentality. That is correct. It didn't lead to change. 2 days was not enough. So a lot of subreddits have said that they're just going to stay offline indefinitely. And a lot of them still are. So going on Reddit right now, a lot of the bigger subreddits still aren't available to access, which is actually a pretty big deal for the platform, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if they can truly stick to their guns, really test their strength and willpower, their resolve, to not have a subreddit to rule over. Can the Reddit mods stand strong and truly put the pressure on Reddit and stay offline until Reddit gets rid of this API greedy change? But in the meantime, the Reddit CEO Steve Huffman is just kind of gloating and spitting in their face, saying that this whole blackout hasn't had significant revenue impact and that the company anticipates that many of the subreddits will be back online by Wednesday. Unfortunately, Steve Huffman's no Nostradamus here. He got that prediction very wrong. His Mayan calendar was off. It's now Thursday as of me making this video, and I wouldn't say most of the subreddits have come back. A large number have, but then there's still a very large number that haven't. He then said, "There's a lot of noise with this one. Among the noisiest we've seen, please know that our teams are on it, and like all blowups on Reddit, this one will pass. We absolutely must ship what we said we would. The only long-term solution is improving our product. In the short term, we have a few upcoming critical mod tool launches we need to nail." He just kind of views this whole Reddit blackout as just a bunch of pesky mosquitoes buzzing around annoying him. They need to stay focused on the goal. They gotta ship out some mod tools, and they've gotta make sure they stand by what they said they'd ship out. They can't give an inch or else Redditors will take a mile. It honestly seems like this is the most exciting thing that's ever happened to him in his life. This, like, cyber war that he's fighting. He's living out his anime fantasies of being the protagonist. He's the general giving orders to his troops. He even went as far as to say, "I'm sorry to say this, but please be mindful of wearing Reddit gear in public. Some folks are really upset and we don't want you to be the object of their frustration." He thinks that because someone's wearing Reddit gear in public, they're gonna be, like, stoned to death. Or given a swirly in the bathroom, or a fucking atomic wedgie. Brother, I don't think there's mangled corpses of Reddit employees littering the sidewalks out in society right now. He's making it sound like wearing Reddit merch is a death sentence. It's people upset that you have made a greedy change, and they're taking that power back. Your site doesn't exist without them. They know that. So they are striking, hoping that you will overturn this decision. They're not out there threatening the lives of employees or anything like that. They're frustrated at a change you are making because you are a greedy sack of shit. You're like this soulless zombie in a suit who has discovered that most people are using third-party apps because yours is trash. And you're driving them out because you know they can't afford to pay for these price changes. Like, I don't know why he's acting this way about it. Like, be careful not to wear Reddit merch. Don't let anyone see that you're a Redditor. Make sure no one smells that you're a Redditor. It could be the end of your life. It's so goofy. But it's even goofier because the whole email memo leaked, so you can actually read how he talks to his employees, and it's so fucking embarrassing. So he kicks off this internal memo by saying, "Hi, snooze." And I've never seen that word in my life. I didn't know what that word meant. I thought he had just dropped a slur in here. I had to look it up to try and piece together the puzzle and figure out what that meant, and apparently snooze are like little Reddit avatar things. So he's basically just doing what Discord used to do with Wumpus and Springle, the help support elf. He's basically just RPing, which is so fucking embarrassing. That is the most on-brand Redditor shit ever. He goes on to say, starting last night, about 1,000 subreddits have gone private. We do anticipate many of them will come back by Wednesday, as many have said as much. While we knew this was coming, it is a challenge nevertheless, and we have our work cut out for us. A number of snooze have been working around the clock, adapting to infrastructure strains, engaging with communities, and responding to the myriad of issues related to the blackout. Thank you, team. I think this perfectly highlights the problem with giving them an end date on your protest. In the memo, he's even like, yeah, we know many of them will be back by Wednesday because they told us. Like, there was just no reason to fucking put a time frame on it, like a time limit. Hey guys, we're protesting, but just for 48 hours. That's it. So, yeah, don't worry about it. It's just a 48-hour protest. That was fucking silly. Now, that number went from 1,000 subreddits going private to about 10,000, which I think is far more than he expected. However, a lot of them have come back now, but not all of them. Still a large number are down. But you can see how not seriously he took it. Like, he didn't care that much about it internally. He's just like, yeah, we knew this was probably going to come, and it's, you know, somewhat of a headache, but you guys have got this. It's not that big of a deal. Thanks, team. Good work, snooze. We do not see any significant revenue impact so far and will continue to monitor. And then he goes into what I've already covered where he's talking about how it'll blow over because everything on Reddit blows over because everyone's too addicted to the platform. They'll always come back. Then he goes in to say, The two biggest third-party apps, Apollo and RIF, along with a couple of others, said they plan to shut down at the end of the month, but we're still in conversations with some of the others. And as I mentioned in my post last week, we'll exempt accessibility-focused apps and has so far reached agreements with RedReader and Dystopia. Now, this is something that I think is worth talking about just briefly. He says that accessibility-focused third-party apps will be exempt from the pricing changes, but I think that's ephemeral. I think that's just a little band-aid here for a PR move where he's going to allow these apps that focus on accessibility to exist exempt from this price change, but only for a brief period of time. I feel like as those become more and more popular, he would start to subject them to that pricing change as well. This is just one of those things where he's trying to save face, like, these are direct competition and I don't like the developer of Apollo. We had very dirty talks. For those that don't know, Apollo and Reddit were directly communicating and things went very sour. Fucking Reddit started accusing the Apollo dev of like blackmail and a bunch of other things. Just like started throwing a bunch of feces on his face, and then eventually the Apollo dev had to come out and clear his name. So that was a whole can of worms. So this is the Reddit CEO going like, those are bad actors, they're shady, but the accessibility-focused third-party apps, they're fine. But I feel like that wouldn't last very long if they started to become more and more popular. He'd once again just make sure that they pay this crazy API price once they're more popular. But that's just pure speculation from a fucking dumb idiot like me. Overall, I find this whole situation pretty interesting because this is a top 10 website in the world, and the users here really have an incredible amount of power, which is uncommon in situations like this. If the users all just agree not to unprivate the subreddits, the site actually just can't function, like we saw earlier this week. So them protesting like this has actually done significant damage. Regardless of what the Reddit CEO says, the fact that people couldn't access it for like a whole day is a big deal. Like that is huge. And I think they started to notice that, which is why so many are still offline. I do hope that they overturn this decision. Like I said, I hate corporate greed like this, and I always believe that third-party apps that offer a better service should have the right to exist. So I am rooting for them here, but I am not expecting a huge change from Reddit here. I don't think they're going to go back on their decision. I think what's most likely to happen is the Reddit CEO will just install new Reddit mods and then force the subreddits to unprivate. He'll just go behind the scenes internally, flip the switch, have the subreddits go live again, get rid of the mods that were protesting, install, new mods that'll just be his little puppets that he can control, and that'll be how Reddit gets back on track. That's my theory, once again, purely speculation from a dumb idiot. But that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. I don't see a world where they walk back this pricing model, but I really do hope they do. Like I said, I am rooting for the Redditors in this case, and just wanted to give a little update since now we're past the 48-hour protesting period, and there are still a lot of subreddits that are staying closed, which I think is great. So yeah, Reddit's not fully dead yet, but it's looking a little iffy for the future of the platform at the very least. That's about it. So yeah. Did you see the drama about a Boston Marathon runner shitting in a dude's yard? The dude complained on Reddit, and then the Boston subreddit defended the runner that shit in the dude's yard. I'll check it out. Okay, so this is kind of like the patient zero here. One of the marathon runners just took a shit in my yard. Video inside. Looks like there was hard evidence here. No questions to be asked. They couldn't have tried to blame it on like an animal or something. There was apparently porta potties throughout the route. Man, everything's fucking deleted. This one's not. Someone said it's an emergency. Why would you approach her during this? It was probably embarrassing. She took a shit in his yard. OP responded by saying she should have the courtesy of not shitting on my lawn. There's no possible way her actions can ever be justified. I'm on OP's side here. Like, you can shit other places. There's porta potties throughout there. Plenty that you can do. But yeah, the comments are more on the side of the runner. I think this is one of those astronomically rare circumstances where it can actually be justified. What do you want to happen now? Don't fuck up this woman's life because she didn't want to shit herself. Just don't shit in his lawn. What do you mean, what do you want to happen now? Put her on blast. This lady just fucking shit in my yard. Why? Did she pick up the shit after? No. She left it there and continued running based on the other comments I've seen. Oh my god. Wait, these comments, this is like the most Reddit shit I've ever seen. The comment said, OP should take a lesson from this post. Being a decent human actually requires some effort. On her part, like, just have the decency not to shit in the yard. Yeah, here it loaded. Yes, you have some ground to stand on because this person... Yes, you have some ground to stand on, too, because this person some personal shame. But what else do you get from it? And all of OP's responses there are so focused on my, and even stating in no circumstances is this justified, quite showing of how this person is developed. No, yeah, obviously he has some ground to stand on, but that ground is covered in shit. That's the problem. What the fuck? So focused on my. Yeah, it's his fucking yard that she started shitting on. What? This is crazy. This is crazy. At least this one's got downvotes. The other one was updated. But he probably got downvoted because of terrible grammar. His grammar was more shit than that lady's ass. So they probably downvoted for that because the other ones are updated. At least we're getting to a point where some of these awful takes are fucking downvoted. Damn, OP, you didn't even offer the bathroom. Boo. Right? That's the humane thing to do. Do you want to clean up in my house? You're right. OP should have been out there with his baby wipes helping her wipe her ass. Maybe get her some Imodium and water while he's at it. Shut the fuck up. You can invite some stranger into your house after she poops in your lawn. Finally, a man in the Boston subreddit with a fucking brain in between their ears. Yeah. What are you talking about? Didn't even offer the bathroom. What's he supposed to do? Be monitoring his ring at every hour of the day, making sure there's not some vigilante pooper coming through? Like fucking rushes out there and cradles her like a baby, dragging her to the bathroom? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What kind of chaos? What kind of madness? What world are we living in? What kind of fantasy? Please, madam, come inside. Use my toilet. Use my facilities, quick. Put your sphincter away. There's better choices. Don't embarrass yourself. Again, at least this one has downvotes. You're acting like someone pooped in your yard for fun. She's running a marathon and didn't know what to do. It's not like she could just go home. Yeah, it's gross, but she was probably already embarrassed about the situation. Fucking hold it till you get to the porta potties, or even at the, even at the bare minimum, just shit on public property. Like shit on the street. Just anywhere else. At least bury it. And if, you know what, and I'll go a step further. If you're going to shit in someone's yard, at least have the decency to pick it up. Like a dog. Marathon runners shit their pants all the time. Half the sport is being able to push your body to the limits and accept the consequences. I don't know how common it is, but there is an iconic photo of a marathon runner who's approaching the finish line with fucking doo-doo running down both of their legs. And they have like this really grimaced expression on their face. Actually just covered in more shit than like a baby who filled their diaper. The video is on Twitter. Let me see. You can't really see anything. This guy's got a huge front lawn. Some people also came around the corner and caught her in the act. I don't know if those are like marathon judges making sure no one poops themselves or something, like the goddamn defecation police, but like 2 people come around the corner and actually watch her shit on this man's lawn. Did she not wipe? Well, she didn't pack baby wipes or toilet paper for the marathon. She didn't expect to be shitting in it. Tactical shit drive-by. Yeah, looks like it. But yeah, she just leaves it. Doesn't even look like she makes an attempt to clean it up. That is foul. So the better option was for her to shit herself instead of going in someone's yard. Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? Like you'd rather someone be covered in shit and publicly embarrass themselves instead of have a corner of poo on your lawn? It's literally part of the sport. Nearly 60% of marathon runners report shitting themselves. I think you're pulling this out of your ass. This stat is just as shitty as this woman in the yard. Like, I don't believe that. But yeah, there's a couple of other options. Fucking poop in public on the street outside of other people's property, or if you're going to poop on someone's yard, treat it like a dog shitting and literally pick it up after yourself. Yeah, 100%. It looks like that's all we got. That was quite a journey. That was an adventure. First off, runner's diarrhea, as it is known, is a real thing. A study published in the National Library of Medicine in 1992 asked 109 long-distance athletes about their bowel movements during runs. 62% reported that they had stopped for a bowel movement during training. 43% said they had nervous diarrhea before a race, and 51% said they had experienced diarrhea after a race, and 12% reported full-on fecal incontinence while running. That is shockingly high. But that's probably why they have porta potties throughout these marathons, for situations just like this. I guess I don't know how close together those porta potties are, though. Maybe there's like a big gap in between them. Yeah, wild situation. I didn't realize how common poopy pants were during a marathon. I thought that was kind of like an isolated incident. What you did was wrong, but I'm sure in her mind it was sheer panic. Hard to say what you'd do unless you're in the same shoes. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like I said, I don't think this was premeditated. I don't think she planned on shitting in someone's yard that day or anything. But even still, like if you know like the floodgates are opening, I would say just do it on like public land, or at least clean up after yourself. Like find some bushes on public property, shit there, or clean up after yourself at the very least instead of just leave it like it was a hit and run, like a drive-by. Twist, she wasn't even actually running in the marathon. Oh, yeah, maybe it's a very nefarious plot. The marathon was just a cover. There was a second shitter on the grassy knoll. This was cool. This was a nice little rabbit hole. I don't even remember who brought that up, but that was interesting. Calling someone a Redditor to their face in 2019 is a fighting phrase. It's like calling someone a cunt back in the 90s. It's a powerful insult. And I get asked all the time why I take a shit on Reddit or shit on Redditors and Reddit culture in general. And it's days like today that remind me exactly why I have such a shit view of Reddit and why the majority of people have almost no respect for the community. They are so goddamn unhelpful. Now, I'm saying they, and I am a very frequent user of Reddit. I go on there almost daily. I like the posts. I like to go on specific subreddits and see the kind of shit going on in the world. I think as long as you don't go in the comments, it's a pretty goddamn decent site for the most part. But it's the second you accidentally get a little too adventurous, or perhaps you just forget the one sacred rule on the internet, the 11th commandment from God: don't go to the comments section on Reddit, because it's just goddamn embarrassing to even look at. It makes you feel bad for being on the site, seeing the mentally ill, socially rejected, downright depraved community that for some reason all kind of festers in the comment section on any post ever. Professional Reddit commenters who farm karma as if they're some type of drug kingpin and get this superiority complex. They watch 2 episodes of Rick and Morty and follow Bill Nye on Twitter, and all of a sudden they think they have all the answers and they're better than the person who initially posted the thread asking for help. Fucking Reddit commenters make YouTube commenters look like sane cool kids at the lunch table. Okay, so why am I talking about this? I'm still fucking upset about this. Today, Andrew and I went to Beef O'Brady's, as is tradition after a hard workout, and Andrew's car had 2 spiders in it that we came across, so he wanted to look for a solution online as to the most efficient way to getting rid of the spiders. A little pest control action, just Google it, because that's what a modern man does. That's the efficient way of getting answers. Well, unfortunately, Google recommended Reddit threads. Our pro-sage life advice from a 14-year-old, how to do your taxes and get rid of the spiders in your car. Shit like that. Just a flurry of all of these Reddit posts addressing how to get rid of spiders. Now, at the time, we didn't even realize how infuriating that would be. But when we got to Beef's, we opened one of the links, and immediately every single top comment was a horrible, stupid fucking joke that's been said a million times before. Set the car on fire. I'm not kidding. Out of the 5 or 6 threads, that was pretty much the top on all of them. I'm going to show you 4 out of the 6 so it's not just overly redundant. I swear to God, these are all different posts and different people. Although they're not even really different people. They have no sense of individuality. They're just fucking regurgitating, vomiting, ass shitting out all kinds of shit that they read a million times before to try and farm that precious karma or make people think that they're a good comedian. I really don't know. But this is how all Reddit comments go. You go to the comments, the first like 15 are going to be shit jokes that don't make you giggle or exhale at all. only serving to make you just irate because you maybe wanted a real answer or a real discussion, and you're not getting it. Not in the comment section on Reddit. But anyway, here's the first thread. How do I get spiders out of my car? Obviously the first answer, burn it to the ground and change your last name. A real side splitter for sure, not exactly helpful, but god damn it, that comedy is unique, original, wacky, and zany. And that's gotta count for something, so the updoots to the left, am I right? Edit, thanks for the gold, kind stranger, wasn't expecting this, oh my gosh. Edit 2, wow, platinum, holy shit, time to add chocolate to the milk and go wild to celebrate, kind stranger. Now let's go ahead and scroll down, surely it's only, the top comment that has such a great joke. Surely they can't all be busting out unique bangers. Surprisingly, that joke didn't spawn a pun thread, but luckily for us it didn't. Underneath that, though, we're gifted with another great joke. Put some tarantulas in there to eat the smaller spiders. Large spiders are easy to keep track of. Well, I do tip my fedora to that one. Still no actual advice yet. A classic double whammy. It's an Ultima. Fire is the best option. Fill it with frogs. Well, my gentle sirs, these are quite comedic. Finally, at the very bottom of the page with a whopping 2 points, an actual suggestion. Glue traps, and a link to them. Now, actually, unironically helpful, that's not a bad idea. Glue traps for insects, it makes sense. But what do the other experts on the website say? Let's go to another thread, which is basically just a carbon copy of this one's commenters. Different threads, same comedy, baby, because for some reason all Reddit commenters are basically just carbon copies of each other. Go ahead and take a guess at what the top comment's gonna be. Spoiler alert. It's fire, because of course it is. On Reddit, everything that even deals with anything even yucky to the smallest degree, anything with an insect, you can guarantee the top comment in the thread is going to be, kill it with fire, or something with fire. Next highest upvoted, I believe ammonia and bleach create chlorine gas, you're right. So if you want to go World War I on their ass, that might be an option. To be fair, this comment actually has sentimental value to me, because I accidentally created chlorine gas when I tried to kill a cockroach once. I talked about that in a video, so that one I don't really have a problem with. I just thought I'd point it out. But luckily, right under that one, we go right back to the standard, set it on fire. I like the reply, lol, as if they'd never heard that before, or perhaps they just always laugh anytime they see that. Next, nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. It's their car now. Scorpions. Definitely scorpions. That's another big one. It's theirs now. They own it. You lost it. Shit like that. That one's also just as common as fire. So I guess it's not exactly a 100% guarantee it's going to be set it on fire when it's dealing with insects, because it has to compete with it's theirs now. Those are always battling for the top spot. GIF of a car on fire, snakes, sell it, elephants, get some funnel web spiders and dump them in and eat the other spiders. And then one guy accidentally almost lends some pseudo advice, but his advice is basically just saying, you might be fucked. None of this helpful, of course, but very humorous, obviously. New thread, same top comment, gasoline, and says light it on fire, and then a reply. Milking every ounce of karma he can out of that joke, I guess. Bye birds, lady who swallowed a fly, just more fucking garbage. This guy really drops a fat comedy routine on this one. Release a snake to catch it, and you're gonna want to lock a mongoose in there for a few days to kill the snake. Once that happens, you need a large mammal like a wolf to get the mongoose. After this, you'll need to find a gorilla to let loose in the car. They're excellent at wolf wrangling. Come winter, the gorilla will just die off from the cold. Which is more than the guy underneath him who actually lent a little advice received. Nothing a good car fire won't fix. It just goes on and on and on. While I think absolutely the jokes suck ass on their own and are used a million times ad nauseum, I'm not here to just be the joke police. What's frustrating is when you're looking for real answers like we were today, and all you get is the same goddamn middle school lunch table joke that you've heard ever since you were a goddamn child and seen on every thread ever posted on the website. Burn it with fire. Get a snake, lol. It's their car now, lol. Epic lol, thanks for the gold. It's so frustrating. And that's only scratching the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the wiener on how just frustrating and stupid Reddit comments are. That's throwing away witch hunts, which are huge in the comment sections and 9 times out of 10 are wrong anyway, a la Boston Bomber. That's the biggest one. That one Reddit will never live down. It's just this most hostile place and the most humorless place on the internet. Fucking Twitter comment threads that are just GIF responses and shit pictures are more entertaining than seeing the same fucking joke every single time at the top comment in the Reddit thread, the top fucking 20 comments. I mean, if you want to make the dumb joke, burn it down, kill it with fire, lol, do that, and then after that put a period and then real advice, which admittedly some people in these threads did, but they were buried at the bottom. Buried. Giving real advice? No. Give me that same stupid goddamn joke. But anyway, that's about it. Just wanted to vent about it because today I was getting frustrated for Andrew with Andrew. Just so dumb. It's so stupid. Just racing to tell the dumbest fucking joke that everyone's already heard a million times on the goddamn website. Anyway, that's it. That's why Reddit's reputation in the comments is pretty goddamn awful. So yeah.